You're listening to Football Friday Night on demand exclusively on 600 ESPN El Paso. Stay up to date with high school football scores, updates, and news by downloading the free 600 ESPN El Paso mobile app.
That game. And Jeff in El Paso High. We have Adrian brought us on the line, I understand, Angel. Let's get out to Adrian now in our 915 Tours game of the week. Adrian.
Thanks, Mark. 11:45 left here in the first quarter. Off the opening kickoff, Eastlake wide receiver, freshman that is, Juan Solis, returned the opening kickoff for 84 yards for a touchdown to open the game up for the Falcons. They're now ahead 7-0 against the Cougars. So again, 11:45 left here in the first quarter. Eastlake 7, Franklin 0.
Well, Paul, it's a good way to start the game off. Return it for a touchdown on the opening kickoff. So Eastlake up 7-0 over Franklin. That game just underway. Let's talk about San Eli and Riverside. You know, Riverside having a good year, 6-1 on the season. It looks like they're the cream of the crop over in the 4A Division 1, 1-0 in district.
Yeah, the big game for them is going to be the Austin Panthers. I believe that one's in a week. Again, if we're just like we're talking about, Andres Kenyattio tonight is maybe for the district title. Austin Riverside in a week, pretty much the same. Remember, Angel Munoz, the quarterback, the star quarterback for Riverside, did not play a week ago in their district opener, but the other studs stepped up. Jose Guardado ran for more than a couple of hundred yards. And Adrian Estrada, who spends most of his time on defense, but in big games, had a big game against Alamogordo in a victory. They bring him over to the offensive side. He ran for 200-plus as well. So no Angel Munoz, apparently no problem. They got off to a slow start. I think tied 7-7 after the first quarter, but really kicked it into gear after that. Guardado and Estrada all over it.
1-4A Division 2 led by Fort Stockton. They're 6-0 and 1-0 in district. And Monaghan's 1-0, 3-3 in district. So everybody else is looking up to those two. But Mountain View will take on Clint tonight in pretty much a must-win situation if you want to stay in contention for one of the top 4 spots.
Right, and the hope for them is that their quarterback, Alex Dominguez, he's been gone for about a month. They're hoping he's been close to back, and I would think in a big game like this one against Clint, he's got to get back on the field, especially since the backup threw 6 INTs a week ago against Fabens, 7 turnovers in that contest. Even though Mountain View still found a way to win that one, 35-28. But I don't think you want 6 interceptions on the field. You want your starter if he's even close to healthy, and I think that's what Alex Dominguez is going to be.
All right, so we got some other games that are taking place that we're not covering that are out of town right now. We've got the Las Cruces playing Oregon Mountain tonight. Las Cruces 1-5 on the season. When was the last time we saw Las Cruces at a 1-5 or upside down in their record?
Yeah, I don't think I'm that old.
Mayfield 4-3, so they're playing Goddard tonight at 5-2. So Chaparral will take on Gadsden, and Hatch Valley will take on Socorro, New Mexico. So anyway, we got a good night of football. We got some great games going on, good matchups. So let's take a break right now. You're listening to Football Friday Night, 600 ESPN. Welcome back to Football Friday Night. Mark Miller filling in for Bo tonight. He'll be back next week. So Paul McKinnon and I are back in the seat together. What we shared for 10 years, 9 years? Quite a while.
Yeah, I think it was probably like about 7 for me with you.
No, that's true.
No, wait a minute, 6.
Yeah, because Tony was in here a little bit before.
You had a head start on me. Yep. How'd that happen?
I don't know.
Bad judgment, I think.
I guess I'm older.
Age before beauty.
All right, Paul, we only got 8 games tonight. We're going to have the reporters talk a little bit longer, give us a little more insight into what's going on. I'm impressed with the fact that Bel Air is 7-0. And I know we talked a little bit about this last week, but those kids got to be happy out there, for their football program.
Yeah, it's huge. Our Bill Kuhn told us a week ago that it's 1992, the last time the Bel Air Highlanders started 7-0. I make fun of their schedule all the time. They're playing teams that they should beat, and they haven't gotten to the ones that are important yet. They're still waiting on Parkland, and they're still waiting on Del Valle. That's going to happen after the bye, obviously. So that's where we're going to find out how good they are. But am I astonished that they're 7-0? Of course I am. This is a team that's been struggling. They're beating teams that they've been losing to over the last 3 or 4 years especially. First really strong year for Eric Scoggin. I think this is like his 5th year at Bel Air. This is a nice Bel Air Highlander team. They're at the very least going to finish 3rd place, and they will give Parkland a run for sure. I think Del Valle might be a little too good for him, but that's coming from a guy that hasn't sat at the field and watched either of them play.
Well, hopefully you get a chance to. I know that Mr. Kuhn gave us some good insights, some good history last week in his reports. Let's get out to our 915 Tours Game of the Week, Eastlake Franklin. Adrian?
7:23 left here in the first quarter. The Franklin Cougars, actually the Eastlake Falcons, up 7-0 on top of the Franklin Cougars. Last we checked, of course, we talked about the Eastlake 82-yard touchdown return off the kickoff with Juan Solis. The Franklin Cougars drove past midfield into Eastlake territory. Drive stalls at the Eastlake 46. And with the Cougars, Shea Smith threw the air 4 of 6 for 21 passing yards, but he stalled on the third down, could not complete his pass intended for other senior Bo Sparks. So, again, I'm going to send it back to you guys. It's 7:14 left here in the opening quarter. Eastlake up 7-0 against Franklin.
All right, thank you, Adrian. Let's get out to Jaime Chavez, Canutillo, and Andres. Jaime.
7:13 left in the first quarter. In Northeast El Paso, it's Andres 7 and Canutillo 0. Malcolm Anderson just had a 3-yard touchdown run, and that drive went just over 4 minutes, 13-play, 64-yard drive for the Andres Eagles. And the key play on that drive was Andres quarterback Elias Duncan, a 22-yard run on a 2nd and 20. Andres, they were backed up into their territory because of holding penalties, and Duncan took off 22 yards and got them into good field position, and then the eventual score by Malcolm Anderson, 4 carries and 15 yards rushing for the Andres Eagle senior running back. So 7:09 left in the first quarter at Andres Stadium. It's Andres 7 and Canutillo 0.
All right, thank you, Jaime. And, you can never underestimate Andres. 2-4 on the season, 1-0 in district, but they're always a threat.
And their non-district was exceedingly tough. They just got pounded. I think it was Midland that hung 70 on them a couple of weeks ago. But who else in that district is playing Midland? So it's a yin and yang. You're getting your you know what beat out. But by the same token, you're getting on the field with teams that are going to be better than most of the ones you see when you get to your district play. So maybe the game slows down a little bit if you're Andres from what they've been used to over the last couple of weeks.
Burgess and Chapin, we had to change of venue there because the lights weren't coming on over at Austin. Jeremy Karanko with the call. Jeremy?
Hey, guys. We still have 12 minutes left to go until kickoff between Burgess and Chapin, a game that was moved to Irvin High School 43 minutes before kickoff at Austin High School. A totally insane night. The situation at Austin was a light outage in the center set of the lights, so the officials decided there's no way we can play it without those lights on. So the game was moved, and the teams are still prepping and getting ready, and we are told that the game will start in about 11 minutes. So good work by the officials to get this game done and set quickly as possible. But Burgess and Chapin tonight here in a crucial district game. Mustangs off to a slow start. That's the big thing right now. They have won 3 straight district titles and have been to the playoffs in the last 7 years. Chapin has won back-to-back games after a 0-4 start, including winning their district opener last week at Jefferson 52-8, and the even bigger story for the Huskies under a freshman leadership quarterback, Davion Singleton, who has come in and led the Huskies to 2 wins in the last 2 games. So a little bit of a strange night so far, but we'll have football in about 11 minutes between Burgess and Chapin at Irvin.
And Mark, a couple early scores. We're going to hear J.D. Sursley in a sec, but he reports that Riverside out on top of San Eli 10-0. That's a homecoming game for Riverside, and once again, Riverside playing without Angel Munoz, I assume on the sidelines, wearing his jersey as per last week, but against San Eli, probably not going to need him in the possible elimination game. The 2 best 4A Division II teams in the city of El Paso, Clint and Mountain View. And remember, potentially, we could only get 1 El Paso team into the playoffs from this district. Of course, you could get a max of 3 if you want to get through the likes of Fort Stockton, Monahans, and Pecos, which is what Fabian's trying to do tonight. But Clint jumps out to a 7-0 lead over Mountain View in that one.
All right, thank you, Paul. Jefferson and El Paso High, 2 teams coming in 3-3 on the year and 0-1 in district. So somebody's going to come out 1-1 and be looking at an opportunity to move up in the standings. And that should be a pretty good ball game tonight. David Guess with the call. Let's get out to David.
Man, this is a great one right now out here at El Paso High School. It's electric. 52 seconds left in the first quarter. El Paso is currently lining up for an extra point as they trail 8-6. Jefferson on their first drive started quarterback Andre Lopez, but then switched over to Roman Gomez, who ran it in for a 10-yard touchdown score. He caught his own number on the two-point conversion to go up 8-0. But as I mentioned, Gary Chires just returned for El Paso, their starting quarterback. He's been out the last 4 weeks, and on his first drive and his return, he had 15 yards on the ground and over 50 yards through the air and connected with wide receiver Pablo Chavez for a 35-yard touchdown score. Right now, 52 seconds left in the first quarter. Jefferson leads El Paso 8-7.
All right, thank you very much, David. It's off to a good one. Fast game.
And especially for El Paso, it's a good night for them, win or lose, because they got their quarterback back. Jerry Chides, not just their quarterback, also their kicker, also their punter. If you remember week 2, when they went from their own 5-yard line, from the 4th and 5, in the shadow of their own end zone. Why'd they go? Well, their punter was on the sideline. That's Jerry Chides. He's everything to them. And now they have him back on the field, so at least they have a fighting chance. 4 teams in this district are going to make the playoffs out of 6 in El Paso. They want to be able to slide into that foursome. Their chances just got a lot greater with Jerry Chides on the field. I think it's been 10 years since the Tigers have been in the playoffs.
Riverside up 10-0 over San Eli, that game in the first quarter. Let's get out to J.D. Sursley. J.D.?
Yeah, gentlemen, Riverside up 10-0. Angel Munoz did not play last week, and he is not playing this week either. He must still have a plucked wing. But Jose Godardo said, no problem, coach, just give me the ball. He already has 55 yards with a touchdown. And then with the San Eli fumble, it was an easy points that gave him the field goal with Isaac Santonio. Riverside over San Eli with 3:37 left in the first quarter, 10-0.
All right, thank you, J.D. Riverside all over San Eli. I got a feeling that one's only going to get worse as the night moves on, Paul. Mountain View and Clint, big game down the valley. Let's get out to Joe Rodriguez. Joe?
1:22 left in the first quarter, and it is Clint leading the Mountain View Lobos by the score of 7-0. A 5-play, 30-yard drive capped off by a 6-yard touchdown run by Alexis Payares, and this was after Clint onside kicked the opening kickoff and recovered the ball at the Mountain View 30. Right now, Clint is currently there's a measurement on a 4th and 4. The Clint Lions went for it in the red zone, and right now we are waiting for a measurement. With 1:07 left in the opening quarter, it is Clint leading Mountain View by the score of 7-0.
And Mark, a gutsy play by Clint, opening with an onside kick. But what it also does is it shows a level of respect. Clint knows this is a big game. They know they're going to have their hands full with Mountain View. I didn't hear if Joe Rod mentioned Alex Dominguez, the Mountain View quarterback, back after a month off to injury. I don't know if that's happened or not. We'll catch that down the line. But Clint showing that they respect Mountain View, and they know they got to come with everything. And that's what an onside kick on the opening kickoff is about.
Pecos taking on Fabens. That was a 6:30 start. We're at halftime already in that game. Let's get out to Ryan Vidales for a halftime update. Ryan?
It is halftime here at Wildcat Stadium, and it is the score of Pecos leading the Wildcats by a score of 10-6. This game has really been a story of 2 big plays and not much else. The game started off with the opening play from scrimmage. Pecos quarterback Colt Salgado finds Jesus Navarro at that for a 72-yard touchdown pass, making that score 7-0. 3 plays later, Fabian strikes right back as quarterback Eric Ortiz hits Ivan Urrutia, one of the Urrutia brothers, for a 53-yard touchdown pass in the flat. He takes it down to the house. However, the extra point was missed, and it was a score 7-6. Aside from that, neither team has been able to really get anything going offensively. You have current running back Isaac Urrutia, who has 8 carries for 44 yards in the first half, and his brother, wide receiver Ivan Urrutia, has 2 receptions for 59 yards and a touchdown. Pecos' running back Caleb Boss has 11 carries for 34 yards, but quarterback Colt Salgado is 8 for 134 yards and 1 touchdown. Pecos is looking to lean heavily on the Urrutia brothers if they're to get back in this game, which I'm sure they're hoping to do on homecoming night here at Wildcat Stadium. So once again, at halftime, the score is Fabens Wildcat 6 and Pecos 10.
All right, thank you very much, Ryan. Let's get out to Jaime Chavez for an update. Canutillo and Andress. Jaime?
2:16 left in the third quarter at Andress Stadium. Make that the first quarter with 2:16 left in this matchup. But Andress and Canutillo all tied up at 7-7. Canutillo comes back on his first drive with L.J. Martin, an 8-yard touchdown run, and Martin already 5 carries and 51 yards rushing. That is his 9th rushing touchdown on the season. And the score for Andress, Malcolm Anderson, he had a 3-yard touchdown run also on Andress' first drive. So we've got 1:02 left in the first quarter at Andress Stadium. Tie ball game, Andress 7, Canutillo 7.
All right, thank you very much, Jaime. A real-time update brought to you by El Paso Association of Builders. All right, let's run down the scores for you. In our 915 Tours Game of the Week, Eastlake up 7-0 and over Franklin. Now we're on a return opening kickoff by Eastlake. The Pebble Hills Montwood game will probably start in about another 20 minutes. That, of course, is the second game of a doubleheader. The first game, it was America's 49, El Dorado 42. Like Jaime just said, there's about a minute left to go in the first quarter. Andress and Canutillo knotted at 7 apiece. Jamie Caranco reported that they had to change the venue in the Chapin-Burgess game. Paul mentioned that a little bit earlier and had to go out to Irvin. So they're about 10 minutes, 15 minutes behind time right now. So we'll probably start that game in probably about 7:45 at the latest. Good game going on between Jeff and El Paso High over at El Paso High. As Jeff up 8-7 over El Paso High, first quarter on that one. Riverside up over San Eli 10-0 first quarter, and Clint up over Mountain View 7-0. Halftime game and an early start. Pecos and Fabens. Down at Fabens, Pecos holding on to a 10-6 lead over Fabens. If you're watching the baseball game and listening to us right now, San Diego up 1-0 over the Dodgers. That game, I believe it was in the bottom of the second inning, if I'm not mistaken. So got a good one there, San Diego town. Last night, Eastwood defeated Socorro 57-7. And a good one over at Irvin as Bowie defeated Irvin 28-21. Let's take a break right now. You're listening to Football Friday Night on 600 ESPN El Paso. All right, welcome back to Football Friday Night. Let's run down your Oscar Arrieta Agency scoreboard. These games are all in the first quarter. In our 915 Tours Game of the Week, it's Eastlake up 7-0 over Franklin. We'll get back out to Adrian Broadus here shortly. He'll be first up in our go-around. Pebble Hills Montwood be underway in about 15 minutes. That's the second game out at the SAC. First game, it was America's 49, El Dorado 42. Good one going on over at Andress. Canutillo and Andress knotted at 7 apiece. That game's probably in the second quarter, just gone into the second quarter. Burgess and Chapin will be underway here. They had to move that venue from Austin over to Irvin about an hour before the game. So they're Jeremy Caranco reported they're probably going to start here in about the next 5 minutes. So we'll have a quick update from him when we get out to Irvin. Good one, Jeff and El Paso High. Jeff leading 8-7 that game in the first. Riverside all over San Elizario 10-0 in the first. Good one with Clint and Mountain View. Joe Rodriguez with a call down in Clint. Clint up 7-0 over Mountain View. And the game at halftime, which was an early start, started at 6:30. Pecos leads Fabens 10-6. San Diego up 1-0 over the Dodgers. That game in the second. And Cleveland defeated the Yankees in 4-2. Let's get out to Adrian Broadus for our 915 Tours Game of the Week. Adrian?
End of the first quarter. The Eastlake Falcons now lead the Franklin Cougars 7-3. The Cougars marched all the way downfield against the Eastlake Falcons. Chase Smith had a nice 9-yard pass to senior wide receiver Bo Sparks, but it wasn't enough. Their drive stalled at the Falcons' 9-yard line thanks to a huge pass breakup by linebacker Hector Hinojos at the line of scrimmage that forced that field goal. Franklin ended up getting on the board thanks to J.P. Soto. His 29-yard field goal was good, and now Eastlake is on the move. Sophomore quarterback Luke Lomelli just completed a 39-yard pass to running back Julius Acosta on the wheel route. So, again, at the start of the second quarter, Eastlake on top of Franklin, 7-3.
And Mark, Eastlake they're tricky, and they always have been. J.D. Calderon, obviously their first coach, and they always love doing that, jet sweep stuff, bringing the wing back in motion. They're ahead of the curve on that. And Ruben Rodriguez, who played at Riverside, and of course coached at Eastlake before he landed this job. He's cut from the same cloth. And, they like to play tricks. This I'd never seen before. This is what they pulled last week against Montwood. Thursday night game, the offense came out in the T formation, but out of the shotgun. So I don't know. I haven't seen it before. I don't watch as much college football as I used to. But a T gun. So what you had was 5 down linemen, receivers to each side, and 4 guys standing abreast in the backfield waiting for the shotgun snap. And as soon as the snap was snapped, in fact, the quarterback, Luke Lomelli, was catching it on the run, going toward the line of scrimmage. Those 4 guys just attacked the line of scrimmage. They ran that 6 out of the first 7 plays. Lomelli carried the ball, picked up 41 yards, and all they got out of it was a 39-yard Julian Malucci field goal. But I think what these guys like to do, as I said, it's a new bunch from last year, and they've been getting better as the weeks go on. Their defense is terrific. You just heard Hector Hinojos. Adrian Broadus told us made another play. But I think they like to mess with the other team, show them something they haven't seen before. By the way, Darren Walker was at that contest, so he saw what they did in the first quarter. So that was their first drive. They got away from it, went to some more traditional stuff, and actually brought it back for a couple of snaps in the third quarter. But I think they just want to show you something different, get you off your game, get you thinking about something else, maybe get the mental advantage. I coached a lot of rec league ball, and when you had teams that weren't as good as the team you thought you were playing, you'd junk up the defenses. 1-3-1, half-court trap, diamond and 2, triangle and 2, all kinds of mess just to throw people off their game. And I think that's what Eastlake does, and I think they do it pretty well.
Well, they're up 7-3 right now over Franklin. That game just starting the second quarter, so that should be a good one tonight. Another good one, Jaime Chavez got the call. Candy, Tio, and Andrus. Jaime?
10:49 left in the half. It is now Andrus 13 and Cañutillo 7. Andrus's Malcolm Anderson just ripped off a 39-yard touchdown run, and the extra point was missed by place kicker Isaiah Owens. And Anderson also has a 3-yard touchdown run. He's got thus far 5 carries, 63 yards rushing. And the score for Cañutillo, L.J. Martin. He had an 8-yard touchdown run on Cañutillo's first drive. Martin thus far 6 carries, 55 yards rushing. So we've got 10:41 left in the half at Andrus Stadium. It's Andrus 13 and Cañutillo 7.
All right, thank you very much, Jaime. That with 10 minutes left to go in the first half. Do we have Jeremy Karanko? Has he started his game yet, or Angel? Okay, we'll just come to him last on this go-around. I believe he's just about underway, isn't he?
Yeah, he says 7:30 kickoff, so that would have been about 7 minutes ago if he's correct about that. So, early first quarter.
Okay, in case you're just tuning in right now, they had to change the venue from Austin to Irvin because the lights didn't work. So they got behind by about 45 minutes. So we'll catch Jeremy on the last go-around here. And I think that game was probably underway. Jefferson, El Paso High, David Guest with the call. David?
Yeah, I got you guys covered live action here at El Paso. 6:56 left in the first half. El Paso is driving, and what a difference quarterback Jerry Tyrez has made in his return. This is just his second drive, and he just broke off. He's already broken off 2 first-down runs on this drive. His first one coming on 4th and 1 on a quarterback keeper, ran it up the gut. His second just now was an 18-yard run on 2nd and 15. So El Paso is just outside of the red zone. It looks like they just got called for another penalty. It's 4th down. They still trail 8-7. Again, 6:56 left in the first half out here at El Paso High.
All right, David, when they get inside to 15, give us a holler. Let's see what goes on with their drive.
And I think El Paso High has played this one right. You know, you've had the injured quarterback. You need this guy to get wins. They got off to a 3-0 start. He was responsible for the first win and a half, I guess. He was gone by the third quarter in that crazy Hanks game. But you got to. This is a game that they have to have. This is a team. Last time in their playoffs was in 2013. Their goal, the El Paso High Tigers' goal, and Ray Aguilar is their third-year head coach. Their goal is to make the playoffs this year. Last week you're playing Andress. You know, maybe it doesn't matter who you have on the field. Andress just might have you a little bit outgunned. But now you're running into Jefferson, which is also a 3-3 team coming in. But this is a game you have a chance of winning, especially at your place. You want to make sure you can get as many of your best players on the field for that big game as you can. By the way, they still remember Lorenz Johnson, who was their transfer running back, who was so terrific for a couple of weeks before he went down with an injury. Dave Guest told us last week his scaphoid bone, that's the wrist. So they're hoping to get him back sometime within the next couple of weeks as well, and then they'll really be at full strength. But it's just good. I enjoy hearing Jerry Tite as El Paso's best player offensively back on the field and contributing as they try to achieve their goal of making the playoffs for the first time again in 10 years.
All right, we got a real-time update brought to you by the El Paso Association of Builders. Let's get out to our 915 Tours Game of the Week, East Lake and Franklin with Adrian Broaddus. Adrian?
After a safety. 10:43 left here in the first half. Eastlake has gone up 9-3 against Franklin. I'll tell you how this happened. Eastlake drove it all the way down to the Franklin Cougar 1-yard line, and quarterback Luke Lamelli fumbled the ball. The ref said that Bo Sparks, the safety for Franklin, recovered at the 1-yard line. Then it was a safety on the ensuing play. The Eastlake defense held the Cougars right there, and as a result, Eastlake goes up 9-3. So I'll send it back to you guys. 10:41 and counting left till half. Eastlake leads Franklin 9-3.
All right, thank you very much, Adrian, for that update.
And the worst part of that, again, this is a key game in District 1-6A. After that safety, that means Franklin's got to kick it away. A free kick from their own 20 means Eastlake's got their mitts back on the football.
San Eli and Riverside. Let's go out to J.D. Sursley. J.D.?
Yeah, 11:16 left in the second quarter. Riverside 31 now, San Eli 6. It was 17-0 when we last talked, but Carlos Rivera to Julian Morales with a beautiful 72-yard bomb. Literally the next drive, Ian Montillon says, "I got you, check this out." And then he throws it to Tristan Lopez, a screen, which goes through 78 yards. And then right after a quick stop, Riverside scored literally in 6 seconds. Another great run by Adrian Estrada. Everyone's just scoring here for Riverside, 31-6 against San Eli, 10:36 left in the second quarter.
All right, thank you, J.D. That one getting away from San Eli. Riverside all over them, 31-6, 11 minutes left to go in the first half. Another one, Joe Rodriguez, Mountain View and Clint. Joe?
8:11 left in the second quarter, and it is Clint leading the Mountain View Lobos by the score of 14-0. Once again, Alexis Payares, this time from 11 yards out, gets his second touchdown run on the night. That was a 10-play, 33-yard drive for the Clint Lions. Talk about wearing down a defense with their rushing attack. So far for the Mountain View Lobos, very little has been going as their backup quarterback, Joel Padilla, is trying to do the best that he can, but he is struggling, trying to get into rhythm tonight. Right now, the Clint Lions just have a 1st and 10 from their own 31-yard line. I'm going to go ahead and send it back to you on the studio with 8:09 left to go in the second quarter. It is Clint leading Mountain View by the score of 14-0.
All right, thank you very much, Joe. Let's get out to Jaime Chavez, Canutillo and Andress for a real-time update.
9:23 left in the first half. We've got a tie ball game. It's Canutillo 13 and Andress 13. Canutillo quarterback Jeremiah Knox just fired a 45-yard touchdown pass to Lorenzo Areola. And Joe Rodriguez, he missed the extra point, thus our tie ball game. And also the other score for Canutillo, L.J. Martin, he had an 8-yard touchdown run, 6 carries, 55 yards rushing for L.J. Martin. And the scoring for Andress and Malcolm Anderson, a pair of touchdown runs of 39 and 2 yards, or make that 3 yards. And also on the extra point try on Anderson's a 39-yard after his 39-yard touchdown run. Isaiah Owens missed that extra point. So we've got 10:40. No, make that 9:40. The scoreboard is kind of hard to read at this point, but we'll get it for you. 9:40 left in the half at Andrews Stadium. Tie ball game. Canutillo 13 and Andrus 13.
Thank you, Jaime. Good update on that one. 9 minutes and change left in the first half. 13-13. Canutillo and Andrus got a good one going out there. Let's get out to Ryan Vidales, Pecos and Fabens. Ryan?
We're still at halftime here at Wildcat Stadium. The score is still Pecos 10, the Wildcats of Fabens 6. Bands are still on the field and the teams are in the tunnels right now, but it is homecoming night, so they are at an extended halftime right now. But once again, at halftime, the score is 10-6, Pecos over the Wildcats.
And Mark, this game really, to the importance to me is finding out how good Pecos is. We talked about this before. It's a 6-team district, 3 teams from out of town. Monahans is one, Fort Stockton's the other. Both of those teams are going to find a way to make the playoffs. Pecos is the wild card. Remember, they used to be in this district, and Clint finally found a way to conquer those guys. And then and that's when they took them out of the district and brought in Andrews, which nobody could handle. But Fabens playing Clint close. San Eli played Pecos, earlier in the year also. That was a 12-0 game. Pecos won that one, but if San Eli can play him close, that means the Clints and the Mountain Views of the world should have a shot at these guys as well. El Paso's going to get at least one team into the 4A Division II playoffs. If Mountain View or Clint, or we're even talking Fabens tonight, trailing 10-6, if they can get past Pecos, then we'll get at least 2. So that's the importance of this game. Fabens giving them a good run so far. An early touchdown, they got out behind. Let them get ahead early, but a whole half to track them down.
Pecos 2-4 in the season, as is Fabens, both 0-1 in district. That game at half, Pecos with a 10-6 lead. Homecoming out at Fabens tonight, so that'll take a little bit longer. Next time around, we'll probably get Ryan right in the third quarter, middle of the third quarter. Let's get out to Jeremy Karanko, Burgess and Chapin. Jeremy?
4:09 left to go in the first quarter, and it is Burgess and Chapin knotted at a 0-0 tie in a game that was delayed 30 minutes in a change of venue. Both teams' offenses seem pretty much stalled to start this game. It's got to be a change of mindset for the players having to move 42 minutes kickoff for a game. So both offenses have punted the ball twice now, but Chapin, starting quarterback, Davion Singleton, a freshman, starting his third game now for the Huskies, and has won 2 straight games for the Huskies. Both teams at 2-4, but Chapin 1-0, and Burgess at 0-1 in district play. So the Mustangs definitely need a win. Team that has been to the playoffs in 7 straight years. They desperately need a win to try and tie the district to avoid the bottom. But we're in a slow start in the first quarter, 3:57 and counting. It is Burgess and Chapin tied at 0 in the first.
All right. Thank you very much, Jeremy. Let's go to our Oscar Arrieta Agency scoreboard. Run these down. A lot of these games now in the second quarter. Eastlake is up over Franklin 9-3 in our 915 Tours Game of the Week. Pebble Hills and Montwood, the second game in a doubleheader, and we'll have to shoot Steve Escajeda a text here, see when he's starting. He should be starting any moment now with that one. First game was America's 49, El Dorado 42. A good one over at Andrus. Andrus and Canutillo are tied at 13 apiece. That was about 9 minutes left to go in the first half. Chapin and Burgess, you just heard from Jeremy, no score. 4 minutes left to go in the first quarter, and, of course, that game was changed from Austin to Irvin within about an hour of start time. Jefferson and El Paso High, we haven't heard from David. I don't know if El Paso High was inside. Do we have David on the line? Good, let's get David after I run down this scoreboard here. But Jefferson up 8-7, 6 minutes left to go in the first half. Riverside all over San Eli, 31-6. And Clint up on Mountain View, 14-0. Let's get out to...
But before we do that, speaking of Clint, Joe Rodriguez just shot us his note. Alexis Payatis having a big night, a 69-yard touchdown run. Clint now all over Mountain View. The Alex Dominguez starting quarterback less. Mountain View Lobos 20-0.
All right, thank you, Paul. Let's get out to David Giss. Jefferson and El Paso High. David?
Yeah, we got a score change. El Paso now leading 14-8. There's 4 minutes and 40 seconds left in the first half. almost another touchdown pass right now for Jerry Shirez. Actually, that would have been his second, but it was Zach Mendoza, running back Zach Mendoza, who crossed the goal line on a 4-yard touchdown run, carried a couple of defenders in there with him. El Paso now leading 14-8. That last drive, Jerry Chirez, again, I mentioned how much of a difference he's made in these first 2 drives for this El Paso team. Those 2 first down runs were pivotal in that drive, and he threw a 30-yard pass to Pablo Gonzalez that set up that touchdown run for Zach Mendoza. So Chirez back in there right now. It's actually 4th down. El Paso is setting up for their first punt of the game, but they now lead 14-8 with 4 minutes and 36 seconds left in the first half.
All right, thank you very much, David. Let's get out to Jaime Chavez for a real-time update. Canutillo and Andress. Jaime?
6:49 left in the first half, and it's now Canutillo 21 and Andress 13. Canutillo quarterback Jeremiah Knox fires a 30-yard touchdown pass to L.J. Martin, and that was a screen pass, and the 2-point conversion was good. Knox also threw a 45-yard touchdown pass to Lorenzo Areola, and L.J. Martin also had an 8-yard touchdown run. Martin thus far, 10 carries, 73 yards rushing, and he's just over the 800-yard barrier for the season. And the scores for Andress, Malcolm Anderson, a pair of touchdown runs of 39 and 3 yards, and Anderson's got 7 carries and 70 yards rushing. So 6:40 left in the half here in Northeast El Paso. Canutillo 21 and Andress 13.
And Mark, somebody actually went out to Chaparral for a football game tonight. It's our very own Russ Bannister says Gadsden's up on top of Chaparral, 14-0, and that'll make him smile. And oh, by the way, Steve Escajeda, kickoff about 4 minutes away in that Pebble Hills Montwood contest, and that should be a good one.
All right, let's take a break right now. You're listening to Football Friday Night on 600 ESPN El Paso. Back to Football Friday Night. Let's run down your Oscar Arrieta Agency scoreboard. These games are all in the second quarter right now. Eastlake up 9-3 over Franklin. I've had about 9 minutes. We'll get out to Adrian Broadus in our 915 Tours Game of the Week. About underway now. Steve Escajeda has the second game, Pebble Hills and Montwood. So I think they've started, haven't they, Paul?
Yeah, I believe that's true.
Okay, and then we got Canutillo and Andress. Got a good one going on over at Andress. Canutillo up 21-13 with about 6 minutes left to go in the first half. Underway also out at Irvin, where they had to have a venue change from Austin to Irvin. Burgess, Chapin, no score. 4 minutes left to go in the first quarter. So Paso High 14, Jefferson 8 with about 4 left to go in the first half. And Riverside all over San Eli, 31-6. 10 minutes left to go in the first half in that game. Clint up 20-7 over Mountain View. That game about 6 minutes left to go in the first half, and it's halftime out at Fabens for homecoming as Pecos is up 10-6 over Fabens. Last night, Eastwood defeated Socorro 57-7, and Bowie defeated Irvin 28-21. In the first game of our doubleheader out at the SAC, it was America's 49, El Dorado 42, Gadsden up 14-zip over Chaparral. Paul.
And an update from Ryan Vidalis. I guess he finally got tired of eating whatever homecoming cooking was out there. They're back on the field and playing, and Fabens comes out hot. Eric Ortiz finds Jorge Lopez 55 yards. Fabens jumps into the 12-10 lead, missed the extra point. We'll see if that comes back to haunt him. But Fabens on top of Pecos in a big district game.
All right, we'll get Ryan on the air here at the bottom of the list, but let's go out to our 915 Tours Game of the Week. Franklin and Eastlake from Adrian Broadus. Adrian?
We've got 3 minutes left here until halftime. The Eastlake Falcons on top of the Franklin Cougars, 12-3. Eastlake Falcons kicker Julian Malucci just hit a 40-yard field goal for the Falcons to put them up now by 9 points. The Cougars are now on the move, driving down to the Eastlake 32-yard line. Shea Smith right now 6 through 12 through the air, 43 passing yards. He's also got 40 on the ground. And again, under 3 minutes to go here in the first half. The Eastlake Falcons on top of the Franklin Cougars, 12-3.
All right, Adrian, thank you very much. Paul, you have something you want to add?
Just what a weapon that Julian Malucci kid is. A 4-year outstanding kicker. Remember, this guy made his bones as a freshman. A 45-yarder on the last play of the game to beat Eastwood. And, Eastwood hasn't beaten them back since, and they'll be itching to do that in a week or so. But Malucci did the same thing to America's, I guess it was a couple of weeks ago. I think it was 42 yards last play of the game. Knocked one through to win that contest. This kid is such a weapon. Eastlake has the advantage of, well, we just need to play other teams close. And you know what? Every time we get down inside of the 20, we're going to come away with points because we got Malucci back there to knock one through. Not a lot of the other teams can say that. I actually got to see him live a week ago in the Montwood win, and you can just tell the way he kicks, his technique. He gets the ball up in the air extremely quickly. We've had other kickers that could kick it a long ways. Dusty Stiles, a guy at Eastwood back in the day, always comes to mind. But they were line drive guys that just powdered it. This guy has technique. The ball gets up in the air, and it's soft, and I don't think he ever misses anything, especially if it's clutch.
What a weapon they have right now. Pebble Hills, Montwood. Let's go out to Steve Escajeda. Steve?
Thanks a lot, guys. And, we had a late start here at the second ball game. Pebble Hills is just about to kick it off to Montwood here. Big game tonight. Pebble Hills comes into this one 4-1 in District 1-6A, 6-1 overall, while Montwood 2-2 in the district and 2-4 overall. And I'll tell you one thing, this game should be kind of wild tonight. Both teams come into this one averaging 40 points a ball game, exactly. Big difference is, while Montwood is allowing 39.7 points a ball game, Pebble Hills only allowing 14.3, one of the best defensive teams in the city. And again, it'll probably come down to quarterback play for Pebble Hills. Gail Ochoa, really talented junior, throwing 14 touchdown passes so far this year. He's also run in another 4. For Montwood, boy, what can I say? Their quarterback, Isaac Galvan, he just needs 64 yards passing tonight to reach the 2,000-yard mark. He's thrown 18 touchdown passes, only 5 picks, and they've got a great receiver there, Diego Oaxaca, 56 catches tonight, on the season, 832 yards, and he's grabbed 10 of those for touchdowns. So Montwood's going to take over here, 1st and 10 from their own 21-yard line. We finally get things going here. Second game with a sack tonight. We'll let you know how it's going to go. It should be a wild one. Pebble Hills is at Montwood.
An 8 o'clock kickoff, Mark Miller. I can just tell you, I was at the early game, America's El Dorado. Nice game. It was 14-14 when I left. And the reason I left is because it stayed at the 8-minute mark for about 10 minutes. 4:03 kickoff. That's not awful, but hey, when there's 2 games and you're the early one, kick the thing off on time. And officials, you guys were doing a nice job spotting the ball. Stop having these 10-minute discussions about what the call is. There's another game coming, and our Steve Escajeda is going to have to sit around until you guys kick it off at 8 o'clock. Hey, chop on that stuff. Get this thing moving.
Let's get out to Jaime Chavez. Canutillo and Andress. Jaime?
3:11 left in the half. It's now Canutillo 28, Andress 13. Jeremiah Knox, his 3rd touchdown pass of the night. He fires a 53-yard touchdown pass to Lorenzo Areola. And earlier in the quarter, he had a 45-yard touchdown pass to Areola, and Knox a 30-yard touchdown pass to L.J. Martin. And Martin, he had an 8-yard touchdown run for Canutillo. Martin, he's got 13 carries and 93 yards rushing, and once again looks like Canutillo is moving into scoring territory. And tonight, Knox, he's 7 of 10, 153 yards passing, and 3 touchdowns. And the only scores for Andress thus far is a Malcolm Anderson, a 39-yard touchdown run, and also a 3-yard touchdown run for Anderson. Anderson's got 8 carries, 73 yards rushing. So we've got 2:33 left in the half at Andress Stadium. Canutillo 28 and Andress 13.
And Mark, to me, Canutillo looks like a team that's playing for the playoffs. They went to the round of 16 last year, which was terrific. and I think they want to try and go deeper or make a similar run this year because they're slow playing. We used to see this with the Central Texas teams when they'd come in and there'd be a guy, he's only got 300 yards, and we got a guy who has 1,300, and then he goes off for like 200 or 300 in that contest. I think that's what Canutillo's done. They've slow played things with L.J. Martin. He was a little dinged up, so they sat him out of basically a couple of games. Lorenzo Adiola, who we're hearing from tonight, the receiver, same thing. He's gotten almost no play through the first 7 weeks of the season. Just a few snaps and a few catches coming into this one, but he was a stud receiver a year ago. Now we're in a game that matters, and Adiola, does he show up? Well, heck yeah. 45-yard touchdown reception, and I think Jaime Chava just said a 53-yard ball right there. Also, they have the weapon Eddie Carrillo. Remember the defensive back, a freshman last year, had 5 interceptions. Oh, by the way, has 5 interceptions this year as well. They keep working him into the offense piece by piece. Caught a corner route. He's getting very few snaps, but a corner route a couple of weeks ago, an outstanding catch. What did he do last week? He had a 40-yard punt return for a score. Not for a score, 40-yard punt return, a 40-yard kickoff return, and he ran the ball for a 40-plus yard score. So this is a guy who's also a weapon, but they're not just throwing him out there and, okay, let's get the ball to this guy every time. Like I said, I think they're just installing things little by little, week by week. They want to be playing their best football. Number one tonight because it's against Anderson. It's a big game. So they're paying attention to this contest, no doubt. But they want to be at their very best in about a month when it's time for the real playoffs, and that's talking about getting out of El Paso.
The other thing here, Paul, with Canutillo up 28-13, and Canutillo now has scored, 21 unanswered points. Andrus has to answer, and they may not be able to do it in this first half with a little over 2 minutes left to go. I think Canutillo had the ball when Jaime was last on the phone. But when they come back in that third quarter, if they don't answer, this game's done. They'll run away with it.
Yep, so many games are won. You're exactly right at the tag into the first half, and it's going to be tough for Andrus to be a quick strike team because Canutillo, what they always do best. Well, L.J. Martin, he's terrific, and the last several years it's been fun to have him on the club. But Canutillo has always made their bones on the defensive side of the football. You might be able to move the ball on them, but usually not in large chunks. And as you said, a couple of minutes might be not enough time. And going down 28-13 at halftime is not where the Andrus Eagles want to be.
Another game in the D2 division. Burgess and Chapin underway about 15 minutes ago. Got a late start on that one because of a venue change. Let's get out to Jeremy Karanko. Jeremy?
6:55 left to go in the second quarter, and is Chapin now leading Burgess by the score 14-0. Brent Hallman, his first touchdown catch of the year, a 71-yard bomb from the freshman Davion Singleton with the 2:29 left to go in the first quarter. And just moments ago at the 9:26 mark, Savion Jordan with a 36-yard touchdown pass from Davion Singleton, the freshman quarterback, 2-0, and now lighting up tonight, 128 yards and 2 touchdowns for the freshman. And on the Burgess side, already down in a big hole, but starting Caleb Hanna with a nice night. The junior started 2 games ago. He's back again on the field, 78 yards on 9 carries. Burgess, 118 yards to Chapin's 166, but with 6:19 left to go in the second quarter, it's Chapin leading Burgess 14-0.
All right, thank you, Jeremy. Let's get out to David Guest, Jefferson and El Paso High. David?
Yeah, we're here at halftime. El Paso is leading Jefferson 14-8. This game started, Jefferson got the ball first. Quarterback Roman Gomez scored the first touchdown of the game on a 10-yard run and then a 2-point conversion. But since then, the return of Jerry Chires for El Paso High School. He has over 100 yards through the air and nearly 50 on the ground in the first quarter. So, in the first half, since getting the ball for El Paso, he threw a touchdown pass to Pablo Chavez, then set up on a 30-yard pass to junior Pablo Gonzalez, set up a 4-yard touchdown for running back Zach Mendoza. That put him ahead 14-8, and that's the score at halftime for El Paso. Wide receiver Pablo Gonzalez recovered a fumble for El Paso just before halftime, and the score stands 14-8, El Paso over Jefferson.
All right, thank you very much, David. Let's get out to J.D. Sursley, San Eli and Riverside. J.D.?
Yeah, 15 seconds left until halftime. Riverside 45 now, San Eli 6. Ian Montione is just doing what the coaches asked. I mean, he's in for Angel Munoz. Speedy Munoz still has a plucked wing, so he's still not playing. But quarterback play from Ian Montione has been great, not making any mistakes. Jose Grandardo, of course, still the MVP for Riverside. He's already on his third touchdown of the game. Tristan Lopez has 2, Adrian Estrada has 1, and, of course, Ian Montione has 2 touchdowns through the air. It has been a fun little bloodbath. It is about to be halftime finally, 45 Riverside, then LE 6.
All right, JD, thank you. We'll get out to you on the next go-around and get a halftime update. Let's get out to Joe Rodriguez, Mountain View and Clint. Joe?
Thank you very much. 50 seconds to go in the first half, and the Clint Lions have just extended their lead. 26-7, and guess who scored for the Clint Lions? You guessed it. It was Alexis Payares from 2 yards out to give the Clint Lions a 26-7 lead. This comes after the Mountain View Lions got on the board with a 47-yard touchdown run by Gilbert Gamboa on a 5-play, 58-yard drive. The last time that the Mountain View Lobos had the ball. Right now, the Clint Lions are going for 2, and the play is underway, and the quarterback keeps it, and he barely gets in for the 2-point conversion, making it 28-7 with 50 seconds left in the second quarter.
All right, Joe, thank you. We'll come back around to you on the second go-around and get your halftime stats. Let's get out to Ryan Vidales, Pecos and Fabens. Ryan?
With 3:12 left in the third quarter, the score is Pecos 16, Fabens 12. Both teams came out early, finding the end zone. Eric Ortiz from Fabens finds Jorge Lopez on a slant that he takes 55 yards to the house. On the ensuing kickoff, Pecos takes it 55 yards down to the 20-yard line, and they cap off that drive at a 1-yard touchdown run by Johnny Morales. So to go ahead and take that lead back. Currently, Fabens is driving inside the 5-yard line, and Isaac Urrutia right now is getting stuffed at the 5. It's bringing up a 4th and goal for Fabens to see if they punch this one in. Once again, there's 2 minutes and 32 seconds left in the third quarter. That score is Pecos 16, Fabens 12.
Okay, Ryan, we're going to stick with you. Let's just see if they score.
Okay, actually, there is a flag on the play right now.
Okay, stay there, Ryan. We're going to see if we got a real-time update here. We're just getting a phone call in. That game 16-12, Fabens threatening right now inside the 5-yard line. We got a flag on the play. Let's get out to Adrian Broadus for our 915 Tours Game of the Week for the update, Eastlake and Franklin. Adrian.
1:15 here in the opening half. The Franklin Cougars are now on the board. Eastlake is up 12-10. Franklin mustered up a nice drive right before halftime here, and quarterback Shea Smith hit wide receiver Bo Sparks on a 21-yard touchdown connection. Shea Smith right now through the air is 8 of 16 for 100 yards, and then on the ground he's got 57 rushing yards. Had a nice 20-yard rush to set up this touchdown pass. So again, with 1:15 to go here in the opening half, Eastlake up 12-10 against Franklin.
All right, thank you, Adrian. Let's get back out to Ryan Vidales, Pecos and Fabens. Ryan?
So that was a personal foul on that flag, which gives the Fabens Wildcats a fresh set of downs. It was a 1st and goal from the 3. However, running back Isaac Lutia gets stuffed, and they go ahead and lose about 2 yards on that one. There is a timeout on the play right now with Fabens.
All right, we're going to stick with you. I'm going to run down a scoreboard right now when we got a moment here. We're just about ready to go to half on a lot of these games in our 915 Tours Game of the Week. Eastlake is up 12-10. That game with about 1:15 left to go in the first half. They're just underway, Pebble Hills and Montwood, in the second game out at the SAC. The first game, it was America's 49, El Dorado 42. Canutillo and Andrus are just about ready, if not are at half right now. Canutillo was up 28-13 with about 2 minutes left to go. And it's Chapin up 14-zip with 6 left to go in the first half over Burgess. Game at halftime, El Paso up 14-8 over Jefferson. With 15 seconds left to go down at Riverside, it's all Riverside 45-6 over San Eli. And Clint is up over Mountain View 28-7. That with about 50 seconds left to go in the first half. All right, Ryan, let's give it back to you. 16-12. Pecos up over Fabens, but Fabens on the Pecos 5-yard line with 3 minutes left to go in the third quarter, looking to score. Ryan?
So on that last play, running back Isaac Urrutia actually got hurt. Looks like an ankle injury. He comes off on the sideline, and on the very next play, quarterback Eric Ortiz throws a pick, and the Pecos Eagles are taking over on their own 18-yard line.
Oh, gosh. All right, Ryan, 16-12. Fabens loses an opportunity to take a lead in that game with a pick. That with about 3 minutes left to go in the third. It's an important game for these, for Fabens. And for Pecos. They're both looking up there for that fourth spot.
Absolutely right. It would be a huge win for Fabens. Of course, they lost last week to Mountain View. The defense created 7 turnovers, 6 interceptions. The Urrutia kid we just heard from had 3 of those picks all by himself. His younger brother Ivan had one as well. But, you got to be able to cash in. That's why when we talk about a guy like Julian Malucci at Eastlake, he's so important. When you do the work, the offense does the work, they drive the field, you're getting something out of it. Instead, these guys have to try and go for a touchdown. Your best weapon goes off the field. Okay, well, now we better try and throw it. And he was probably trying to throw for Ivan Urrutia. Easy for me to say. He had 3 touchdown catches a week ago, so they probably tried to find him for a fourth one tonight, and it backfires on him, and they come away with nothing. Montwood dropping the game to Eastlake a week ago was the same thing. They were able to drive between the 20s, big mistakes, missed field goals, turnovers, and plus territory, turned what should have been an extremely close game, maybe a Montwood win, into a 3-score victory for Eastlake.
Yeah, that's one of those situations where you're down on the 3-yard line is put your 3 biggest guys behind your quarterback and just go forward.
First and goal. These days, they let you push the heck out of, so like you said, quarterback under center and 2 guys pushing from behind.
All right, let's take a break right now, and when we come back, we'll get some of these halftime reports. You're listening to Football Friday Night on 600 ESPN El Paso. Welcome back to Football Friday Night. Question tonight, are the Dodgers going to be able to beat San Diego, who they did all year long? And now San Diego's becoming their worst nightmare. They're up 2-0. Trent Grissom with a home run. That game in the bottom of the fourth right now at San Diego. Let's run down some scores here, and we'll get some halftime reports from some of our reporters and our Oscar Arietta Agency scoreboard. Eastlake up on Franklin 12-10. Last time we talked to Adrian Broadus, there was about a minute left to go in the first half, and I believe, Paul, he's at probably halftime right now. I understand Pebble Hills just got on the scoreboard.
They absolutely not Pebble Hills. You got it the wrong way, my friend.
Did, huh?
Monwood, I told you, you don't want to mess with those guys. They're dangerous.
All right,
7-0 out on top. Isaac Galvan throws a touchdown pass, a 9-yarder.
Okay, we'll get out to Steve Escajeda first and get an update on that game. Canutillo and Andrus. Canutillo up 28-13. There was about 2 minutes left to go in the first half on that one. We'll get out to Jaime Chavez, third in the rotation there, and get his halftime report.
Yeah, actually, Jaime at half, and his score now 35-20. Last score we had Anthony Ayala, 5-yard jet sweep for Canutillo with 59 seconds left. That made it 35-13. And then I said that Andrus is going to have trouble scoring from a long ways away. And apparently they scored from a long ways away because in those final 59 seconds, they found a way, according to Jaime's scoreboard, to put a touchdown on the board, 35-20. I'm sure he'll tell us all about it real soon.
Well, as we said before, they needed that in order to stay in this ballgame.
Absolutely.
Chapin up over Burgess 14-zip. That with about 6 minutes left to go in the first half. A game already at half. El Paso High up over Jefferson 14-8. Riverside all over San L.A. 45-6. That game also at half. We'll get JD on there to give us an update on that one. A lot of numbers for Riverside. Clint up over Mountain View 28-7. There was about a minute left to go in the first half on that game. And Pecos up over Fabens 16-12. Cleveland defeated the Yankees 4-2 and 10 earlier this afternoon. And San Diego, like I said, up 2-zip in the bottom of the fourth. Let's get out to Steve Escajeda, Pebble Hills and Montwood. Steve?
Thanks a lot, guys. We've got 1 minute and 17 seconds to go here in the opening quarter, and Montwood is out in front of Pebble Hills 7-6. Montwood scoring on a Isaac Galvan 9-yard touchdown pass to Diego Oaxaca. Again, to make it 7-0. Pebble Hills just took the ensuing kickoff and just running it on almost every single play, just grinding it down the field. I don't think you got them, especially that offensive line, a little upset. But they just went down the field, scoring on an 11-yard touchdown run by Jacob Ledesma to make it 7-6. The try for the extra point was no good. They fumbled the snap and they couldn't get the kick through, so it is 7-6. And so far in this ball game, Isaac Galvan, Montwood's quarterback, 3 out of 7, 69 yards and a touchdown. Jeremiah Steve, he's got 2 catches for 60 yards to lead Montwood. And again, that Pebble Hill rushing attack, so far they've carried the ball 15 times in this first quarter already for 83 yards and that one score. We've got 1:17 left to go in the opening quarter. It is Montwood 7, Pebble Hill 6.
And, Mark, that's the Pebble Hills team that I saw beat El Dorado. They just ground them down. Sam Chacon and Jacob Ledesma took turns. Pebble got away from that a week ago in the loss to Americas. You know, they tried to be, a little more versatile. Big plays through the air. Jaleel Bost had 3 long touchdown receptions, but that's pretty much all they had. And found a way to drop 23-21 to Americas. They're getting back to what they did a few weeks ago, and that's just grind the defense down.
Let's get out to Adrian Broadus in our 915 Tours Game of the Week, Eastlake Franklin for halftime report. Adrian?
18 minutes left in halftime. The Franklin Cougars have taken their first lead of the game, leading 13-12 against the Eastlake Falcons. Guys, this went down to the wire as the half ended. Shea Smith was able to move the ball downfield with the Cougars. He completed a 12-yard pass to Bo Sparks, and then a roughing the passer penalty moved the Cougars up to the Falcons' 15-yard line. J.P. Soto nailed a 32-yard field goal right before halftime to give the Cougars the lead. Let's run down some first-half stats. As quarterback for the Franklin Cougars, Shea Smith, he's 11 of 19 through the air, 127 passing yards. He has that passing touchdown to Bo Sparks, the senior wide receiver, and also has 59 rushing yards to go along with it. Running back Jordan Morales also leads the way for Franklin on the ground with 35 rushing yards, and Bo Sparks, the senior, what a standout day he's had so far. Quiet first quarter, but in the second quarter alone, 7 catches, 96 receiving yards. And then sophomore quarterback Luke Lamelli for the Eastlake Falcons. He's 9 of 11 through the air, 133 passing yards on his end. And the story for them is their all-around athlete, Isai Perea. Really like watching this guy, the wide receiver for Eastlake, the senior who sat out in the past 2 seasons due to COVID-19. He has 4 catches, 55 receiving yards, also has 3 rushes for 18 on the ground. So again, we've got about 16 minutes left here at the halftime mark. The Cougars on top of the Falcons, 13-12.
And Mark, this is what we've been talking about for a large chunk of the night. How do you finish the half? Well, Franklin drives the field. Soto kicks the 32-yard field goal. By the way, nice job by the special teams being able to convert when you're in plus territory. And they take a 1-point lead to the locker. And, oh, by the way, who gets the second-half kickoff? The Franklin Cougars do. You see this a lot with teams. Franklin's been off for a couple of weeks. You're at home, you have a big game, you want to get off to a good start and maybe try and bury a team. Well, that's already passed. Eastlake jumped on them instead out to a 9-3 lead, but they've been able to chisel them down and grab the lead by halftime. Teams that have been off for a couple of weeks usually get to the best part of their game as the game goes on. Franklin should be a better second-half team than they were a first-half team as they kind of shake off some of the rust, especially in that first quarter. You would think this would bode well for the Franklin Cougars, but Eastlake, especially down just a point, they're not going to roll over and die.
Franklin up 13-12 at Hat over Eastlake in our 915 Tours Game of the Week. Let's get out to Jaime Chavez, KNUT and Andrews halftime report. Jaime?
So it is halftime in Northeast El Paso. It is Canutillo 35 and Andrews 20. Canutillo quarterback Jeremiah Knox, 3 touchdown passes, 53 and 45 yards to Lorenzo Areola, and also a 30-yard touchdown pass to L.J. Martin. L.J. Martin has an 8-yard touchdown run, and Anthony Ayala a 5-yard touchdown run for the Canutillo Eagles. The scoring for Andrus, Malcolm Anderson, touchdown runs of 39 and 3 yards. And just before the half ended, quarterback Elias Duncan for Andrus, he took it in for a 1-yard touchdown plunge. And Canutillo, the stats, quarterback Jeremiah Knox, he's 6 of 9, 153 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. And his main weapon is Lorenzo Areola, 3 receptions, 102 yards. L.J. Martin, 13 carries, 93 yards rushing, and a pair of touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. And Martin has 9 rushing touchdowns on the season, and he's just over 800 yards rushing, and he's showing no effects of a recent hamstring injury. For Andrus, Malcolm Anderson, 9 carries, 75 yards rushing, and 2 touchdowns. Quarterback Elias Duncan, 8 of 15, and 115 yards passing. So it's halftime at Andrus Stadium. Canutillo 35, Andrus 20.
All right, thank you very much, Jaime. I don't know who has the ball to start the second half. We might want to text Jaime and let's just see who has it. Canutillo up 35-20 as Canutillo went down and scored with about a minute left to go, and Andrus answered to stay in that game.
Yeah, Andrus was first on the board in this contest, and I think they scored on their first drive. We got that one pretty early. Malcolm Anderson, the 3-yard touchdown run. Oh, by the way, while I got it in front of me, Russ Bannister out at Chaparral. Halftime score, Gadsden, 26-0, shutting out mighty Chaparral.
26-zip. Thank you, Russ. We appreciate that. Russ was with us a long time ago there and was on part of the crew before he went back and started coaching football again, actually at Chaparral, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, well, you are mistaken because he's been with us this year. That's what happens when you don't come around, Mark Miller.
In the past few years.
Well, Bo Bagley knew that Russ Bannister has been here virtually every
Thank
week.
You, Paul.
Every week. Only 8 games. Gadsden could not get onto our air tonight, but Russ Bannister's there, and he's getting it on for us.
All right, thank you, Russ. Let's go out to Jeremy Karanko. Burgess and Chapin. Jeremy?
Halftime here at Irvin Memorial Stadium. It is Chapin leading Burgess 28-0 in a game that was moved from Austin to Irvin, if in case the viewers are wondering, where we are here tonight leading the way for the leading 28-0 Chapin Huskies. Davion Singleton, the freshman, the story of this team right now is a highlight. A freshman quarterback, third game in, tonight's 201 yards on 11 out of 15 through the air, and 4 touchdowns to 3 different receivers. Brett Hallman was the first one, a 71-yard touchdown catch at the 2:29 mark of the first quarter for his first touchdown reception of the year. Savion Jordan with 2 touchdown receptions at the 9:26 and 5:36 mark of the second quarter from 36 and 32 yards. That made it 21-0, and Anthony Rivera catches his second of the year, a 24-yard touchdown pass from the freshman quarterback Davion Singleton. The Chapin Huskies, 251 yards, 201 through the air from their star freshman, and 50 yards rushing. Davion Singleton also has 31 yards on 4 carries. For the Burgess Mustangs, bright spots is Caleb Hanna, a junior in his third game, starting now for the third straight game. He's now overtaken as the leading rusher for the Burgess Mustangs on the year. 11 carries or 76 yards on the night, and Andrew Rutledge, who's averaging 117 yards through the air, just 7 out of 10 for 53 yards, 133 Burgess Mustangs yards to 251 for the Chapin Huskies. The Burgess Mustangs have been to the playoffs every year since 2014, and they look like they'll be falling to 2-5 unless they can mount a comeback and 0-2 in district. Chapin at 2-4 and 1-0 in district, looking to stay undefeated in district play. So halftime here at Irvin Memorial Stadium, it is Chapin leading Burgess 28-0.
All right, thank you, Jeremy. Let's get out to J.D. Sursley, Riverside, and San Eli. J.D.?
All right, Riverside is about to kick off to start the third quarter. They are up 45-6 in San Eli. Jose Godoro at halftime ended up with 150 yards on the ground with 2 touchdowns, and then 78 yards catching with 1 touchdown. Ian Montion, who is in for the injured Angel Munoz, is at 265 yards in the air with 3 touchdowns. Riverside 45, San Eli 6, start of the third quarter.
David Guest, Jefferson and El Paso High. David?
Yeah, El Paso currently leading 14-8. There's 8 minutes and 56 seconds left in the third quarter. So we've started the second half here. In the first half, quarterback for El Paso, Jerry Chires, in his return after a 4-game absence, over 150 all-purpose yards, a touchdown pass to Pablo Chavez, a 30-yard pass to Pablo Gonzalez that set up a 4-yard touchdown run for running back Zach Mendoza. But right now, Jefferson has the ball after El Paso went 3 and out on their first drive of the third half, and Jefferson is looking to cut into El Paso's 14-8 lead with 8:26 left in the third quarter.
Thank you, David. Let's get out to Joe Rodriguez, Mountain View and Clint for a halftime update. Joe?
Thank you very much, Mark. We are a little bit less than 2 minutes away from the start of the second half here, where the Clint Lions are leading the Mountain View Lobos by the score of 28-0. Well, what can I tell you? Actually, I should re-say that again. I should say it's Alexis Payares, 28 to the Mountain View Lobos 7. Alexis Payares has been the star player of the night for the Clint Lions and of this game. He has 9 carries, 122 yards, and 4 touchdowns. The Clint Lions, what can I say? They've carried the ball 29 times for 241 yards. Keep in mind, this is a team that thus far in this 2022 season has averaged 263.2 yards a game. They just about accomplished that. They were 22 yards shy of it in the first half. For the Mountain View Lobos, they've only been able to accumulate a grand total of 112 total offensive yards, and this is for a team that this season has averaged 471 yards of offense per game. I think that says what the difference in this game has been tonight. It'll be interesting to see what kind of adjustments head coach DJ Check can make for the Mountain View Lobos to try and turn this thing around. We're moments away from kickoff. I'm going to go ahead and send it back to you on the studio, where the Clint Lions are leading the Mountain View Lobos by the score of 28-7.
All right, thank you, Joe. Let's get out to Ryan Vidalis, Fabens and Pecos. Ryan?
With 8:35 left to play in the fourth quarter, the score is the Pecos Eagles 16 and the Fabens Wildcats 14. This fourth quarter has been turnover city as you have both teams exchanging turnovers, one of them leading to a safety from Pecos, high snap over the quarterback's head. Quarterback Colt, I believe it's Colt Salgado, tries to kick that ball out of the end zone. Can't do so. He just falls on it to go ahead and take the safety. That lets Fabens get 2 points closer. Once again, right now, Fabens throws a touchdown pass. However, it is called back, and they are currently driving on the 30-yard line. They're going to be coming out on this on a 3rd and long. With 8:35 left to play in the first quarter, it is Pecos Eagles 16, Fabens Wildcats 14.
All right, Ryan, thank you very much. I don't think anybody wants to win that game, Paul.
Go ahead, score, only there's laundry on the field. Those are the kind of plays you kick yourself about, when you come away with the L instead of the W.
Mm-hmm. Let's run down our Oscar Arieta Agency scoreboard in our 915 Tours Game of the Week. It's Franklin up 13-12 at half over Eastlake. In a game that's the second game out at the SAC, it's Montwood 7, Pebble Hills 6. That game with about 1 minute left to go in the first quarter. In the first game out at the SAC, it's America's 49, El Dorado 42. Burgess and Chapin. This game was delayed an hour because of venue change because the lights didn't work over at Austin, so they're over at Irvin tonight. It's Chapin all over Burgess, 28-0 at half. A good one over at Andrus. Canutillo up 35-20 at half over Andrus. And El Paso High up 14-8 over Jefferson. That game with about 8 minutes left to go in the third quarter. All Riverside down at in the valley there, 45-6 over San Eli. And Clint up 28-7 over Mountain View. And as we just heard from Ryan Vidalis, Pecos up 16-14 with about 8 minutes left to go in that game. Thursday night scores, Eastwood all over Scoro 57-7. And Bowie defeated Irvin 28-21. And Gadsden up over Chaparral 26-0. All right, let's take a break right now. You're listening to Football Friday Night on 600 ESPN El Paso.
14 to 6. Yes, yeah, you betcha.
All right, welcome back to Football Friday Night. Let's run down your Oscar Arrieta Agency scoreboard. In our 915 Tours Game of the Week, it's Franklin up over Eastlake 13 to 12, that game at halftime. Montwood up 14 to 6 now over Pebble Hills, that game in the second quarter. That, of course, the second game out at the SAC. In the opening game, it was America's 49, El Dorado 42. Canutillo leading Andress at halftime, 35 to 20. And it's Chapin up over Burgess, 28-0, that also at halftime. Game in the third quarter, about 8 minutes left to go in the third. It's El Paso High 14, Jefferson 8. At half, it's all Riverside, 45 to 6 over San Eli. In Clint Mountain View, it's Clint up 28 to 14 as Mountain View just got on the board a few minutes ago, that game in the third quarter.
And added an onside kick. Remember, Clint started this game with an onside kick. Our Joe Rodriguez tells us Mountain View onside kicked to start the second half. Hey, how do you like that, buddy? Scored the touchdown, onside kicked again, and just recovered it. Mountain View Lobos down a couple of scores, but with the football and on the charge.
Pecos up over Fabian 16-14, 8 minutes left to go in that game. And San Diego up 2-0 over L.A. I believe that game's now in the fifth, is it not, Paul? I believe it is. And Cleveland defeated the Yankees 4-2 and 10 today. You got some out-of-town scoreboard?
I certainly do, since you asked. Let's go to Central Texas. Speaking of San Angelo Central, looking to stay undefeated in District 26A, 49-27. They lead Odessa High. How about this one? Legacy falls to Friendship last week. Only a couple of wins on the season. 26-25, they lead Odessa Permian in Odessa at Ratliff Stadium. Wow, what a surprise that is. Speaking of surprises, Thursday night game, Abilene Wiley takes down Wichita Falls Ryder. Ryder always in the regional finals game, and you figure with Lubbock Cooper out of the way, moving up to the 5A Division I, that maybe Ryder would have a clean ride through that region. Well, they don't even have a clean ride through that district because Wiley comes away with the big 1-point win last night, and then now they take the catbird seat in that district 2-5A, Division II. Elsewhere, Lubbock Cooper, speaking of those guys, D1, they lead Abilene High 11-8. Caprock ahead of Lubbock Monterey 14-13. Another sort of shocker last night, Thursday nighter. Lubbock Coronado beats Amarillo High 28-17. At Amarillo, I'd call that an upset. Elsewhere, the other Cooper, Abilene Cooper, all over Paladuro 50-14. Plainview killing Lubbock 62-19. And here's an interesting one. District 1-4A, Division II, that's Clint, Fabens, and Mountain View, who we're all hearing from tonight. Monahans looking to take the O from Fort Stockton, 38-29. They lead that one as it goes into the fourth quarter.
Wow. Big score right there. Big score. You probably see Fort Stockton and Monaghan sitting on top of that 1-4A Division II. Let's get out to Adrian Broadus in our 915 Tours Game of the Week, East Layton Franklin. Adrian?
Hey, guys, we are about to start the third quarter. The Franklin Cougars up 13-12 against the Eastlake Falcons. The last update, I provided you with a lot of offensive stats. It's been a lot of defensive highlights in this game. First off, for the Cougars, they still haven't allowed a touchdown against the Eastlake Falcons, so you got to give credit to the Franklin defense for that. And then Eastlake has stopped Franklin twice when the Cougars have driven in the Falcons' territory. Other highlights to just mention, linebacker Hector Hinojos, a key pass break up at the line of scrimmage on third down for the Falcons. On the Cougars side of things, Jordan Morales, the running back, who also plays linebacker, he blocked a punt earlier today. And then safety Bo Sparks, we talked about him a lot offensively with his 7 catches for 96 receiving yards. He also had a fumble recovery in the first half. So again, we're just getting started here with the third quarter. The Cougars on top of the Falcons, 13-12.
All right, thank you, Adrian. Let's get out to Steve Escajeda, Pebble Hills and Montwood. Steve?
Thanks a lot, guys. 3:32 left to go here before the half, and Montwood now leading Pebble Hills 14-6. Montwood scoring on an Isaac Galvan 29-yard touchdown pass to Diego Oaxaca. That's their second touchdown connection of the night. So far, what a ball game by the quarterback Galvan of Montwood. 10 out of 17 through the air for 186 yards and those 2 touchdowns passes. Isaiah Claudio has also rushed for 54 yards for Montwood. But right now, Pebble Hills has returned the favor. Right now, they got a 1st and 10 at the Montwood 13-yard line. There's a timeout on the field right now. There's tending to an injured player as we speak. So, again, Pebble Hills trying to answer that score. And, again, with a vaunted running game, they've got, Aaron Chacon, 59 yards on the ground. Jacob Ledesma, 47 yards on the ground. 25 for the quarterback, Gail Ochoa. So, again, they're pounding it on the ground. And they're trying to get this thing knotted up before the end of the half. 3:32 to go in the second quarter. It is Montwood 14, Pebble Hills 6.
All right, thank you, Steve. Let's get out to David Guest, Jefferson and El Paso High for a live update. David?
Yeah, El Paso just took a 21-8 lead. There's just over 3.5 minutes left in the third quarter. And how it happened, this team is starting to come around. As I mentioned, quarterback Jerry Chires and his return has been the story of this game so far. But senior wide receiver and defensive back Pablo Gonzalez, he had a fumble recovery in the first half. He got an interception off of Jefferson changed their quarterback to Andre Lopez. Andre Lopez was intercepted by Pablo Gonzalez. And a few plays later on the ensuing drive, Jerry Chires found him along the sideline. He caught it at about the 35-yard line, broke a tackle, and took it the rest of the way. So second touchdown pass of the night for Jerry Chires, and the first touchdown score of the night for Pablo Gonzalez, his 6th of the season. He now has over 500 yards through the air on the year. El Paso leading 21-8 with 2.5 minutes left in the third quarter. Jefferson knocking on the door.
All right, David, thank you very much. Let's get out to Jaime Chavez, Canutillo and Andress. Jaime?
6:13 left in the third quarter. It is now Canutillo 42 and Andress 20. Quarterback Jeremiah Knox Canutillo, he had a 4-yard touchdown run, and that took about 4 minutes off the clock on Canutillo's opening drive in the third quarter. And on that particular drive, L.J. Martin had 40 yards rushing, and good play tonight for the quarterback, Knox. He's got 3 touchdown passes of 53 and 45 yards to Lorenzo Arriola, and also a 30-yard touchdown pass to L.J. Martin, in addition to his just completed 4-yard touchdown run. L.J. Martin, he's got 133 yards rushing tonight on 12 carries, and he caught a 30-yard touchdown pass from Knox. And Martin also has an 8-yard touchdown run. The scoring for Andress, Malcolm Anderson, touchdown runs of 39 and 3 yards, and quarterback Elias Duncan, a 1-yard touchdown run just before the half. 5:30 left in the third quarter. Once again, Canutillo is on the move, and it's Canutillo 42 and Andress 20.
All right, thank you, Jaime. Let's get out to Jeremy Caranco, Burgess and Chapin. Jeremy?
8:40 left to go in the third quarter, and Chapin is adding on. It's 35-0 over Burgess. Davion Singleton, we mentioned 4 air touchdowns, 201 yards. How about a rushing touchdown? 31-yard rushing touchdown. It is all the freshmen tonight taking over for the Huskies. 282 yards for the Huskies, and Singleton has about 90% of that. For the Burgess Mustangs, Caleb Hanna trying to do what he can now, up to 83 yards and 12 carries, 162 yards for the Mustangs. But it's all Chapin. 8:07 third quarter, 35-0 over Burgess.
Wow.
7 years in a row in the playoffs. 3 years in a row, district champs, tri-champs a couple of those years, shared the title. One of those years, Burgess not going to be the district champs this year. That's pretty obvious. They get pretty good quarterback play from Andrew Rutledge. But Tavares Jones is off to Missouri now, and so did all the other skill guys. They didn't all go to Missouri, but they're not at Burgess anymore. They all graduated, so kind of an empty cupboard. This is the first year where, Neil Rutledge, his, 8th now as a head football coach at Burton? Actually 7th, sorry. They got in the playoffs the year before he showed up, but first year where he's really going to have to coach. They're going to lose tonight against Chapin, a team that a few weeks ago looked like couldn't get out of its own way. What he's going to have to do this year, if he wants to make the playoffs, is beat the El Paso High Tigers and beat Jefferson. Anything short of that, and they're going to be watching like about 13 other teams in the city.
Chapin doing that with a freshman quarterback.
Davion Singleton, and they just plugged him in a few weeks ago. As I said, about a month ago, it didn't look like these guys could get out of their way, out of their own way. Well, this guy wasn't in a quarterback; he was the running back, and they made a move. I don't know if it was by necessity or by choice, but so far so good. By the end of the night, he's going to be 3-0 as a starting quarterback, and as you most importantly said, as a freshman.
Track meet going on down at Riverside, between Riverside and San Eli. Let's get out to J.D. Sursley. J.D.?
In the third, 22 seconds left in the third quarter. Riverside 51, San Eli 6. Jose Godardo, I was mentioning earlier, with 2 touchdowns on the ground, 78 yards catching through the air. He's at 180 on the ground so far. Adrian Estrada, Tristan Lopez both have multiple touchdowns. Ian Montillon, in for the injured Angel Munoz, is pushing for 300 yards in the air with multiple touchdowns. Again, fourth quarter is about to begin. Riverside Rangers 51, San Eli 6.
All right, thank you, J.D. Let's get out to Joe Rodriguez, Mountain View and Clint. Joe?
4:34 left in the third quarter, and it is the Clint Lions leading the Mountain View with a score of 28-14 to open up the second half. An onside kick by the Mountain View Lobos that was recovered by them. From there, they only went 2 plays, 40 yards, a 34-yard, touchdown run by Gilbert Gamboa, his second of the night, to make it 28-14 with 11:24 left at the third quarter at that time. From there, the Mountain View Lobos onside kicked again. They recovered again, but then turned the ball over on downs. On the ensuing possession by the Clint Lions, they were in the red zone and also had a turnover by downs on a couple of botched snaps. And right now, the Mountain View Lobos are looking at 3rd and 2 from their own 46-yard line. We have a official timeout due to injury with 4:36 to go in the third quarter. It is Clint leading Mountain View by the score of 28-14.
All right, thank you, Joe. Let's get out to Ryan Vidales, Pecos and Favens. Ryan?
It's a final here at Wildcat Stadium, and it is the Pecos Eagles 16, the Favens Wildcats 14. This game just ended right now after the Pecos Eagles took a knee. Running back Isaac Urrutia actually left this game in the fourth quarter with an injury, and since then, Pecos was struggling to get anything going on offense, forcing them to go to a passing attack where quarterback Eric Ortiz ends up throwing 2 more picks during the game. Bunch of turnovers in that fourth quarter, but just to cap off some of these final stats for you here, quarterback Eric Ortiz finished 14 of 30 with 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Running back Isaac Urrutia, 18 carries and 120 yards, and you had 2 receivers scoring touchdowns for the Favens Wildcats. Ivan Urrutia, number 3, had 3 catches for 64 yards and a touchdown, and Jorge Lopez, 3 catches for 79 yards and 1 touchdown. On the opposite side of the ball, Pecos Eagles quarterback Colt Salgado finished with 11 for 19, 167 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. And leading all receivers, you had number 7, Jesus Navarro, 4 catches, 96 yards, and 1 touchdown. Pecos gets this District 148 Division II win, and once again, out at Wildcat Stadium, that final is Pecos 16, Favens 14.
Well, Paul, they could probably kick themselves. They're inside the 3-yard line.
Absolutely right.
And
First and goal from the 3.
First and goal from the 3, and couldn't get it in.
And Ryan kind of talked around it, but he reported it to us perfectly earlier on. Isaac Urrutia, who really is their big weapon, ran for 120 a week ago in the loss to Mountain View. But from first and goal from the 3, gets hurt on the first play. They take him out. So what do? They say, we better throw the football now. Eric Ortiz throws the end zone pick. That's tag into the first half. They come away with nothing. And then you look at the end of the game. What is it? 16-14. Bare minimum, have Julian Malucci on your team and knock in a field goal from that distance, and maybe you come away with a 1-point win, a huge win. Instead, you go home disappointed on a homecoming night out in Fabens.
Let's run down your Oscar Arrieta Agency scoreboard at our 915 Tours Game of the Week. It's Franklin up over Eastlake, 13-12, that game at half. The second game of a doubleheader. That's in the second quarter right now with about 3 minutes left to go in the first half. It's Montwood 14, Pebble Hills 6. In the first game of that doubleheader, it was America's 49, El Dorado 42. 5 minutes left to go in the third quarter. It's Canutillo up over Andress 42-20. With 8 left to go in the third quarter, it's Chapin 35, Burgess nothing. El Paso High leads Jefferson with 3 minutes left to go in the third, 21-8. It's all Riverside over San Eli, 51-6. That game just going to the fourth quarter. With about 4 minutes left to go in the third, it's Clint 28, Mountain View 14. And as Ryan just reported, Pecos defeated Fabin 16-14. Let's take a break right now. We come back, we'll have some more scores for you and some more updates. You're listening to Football Friday Night on 600 ESPN El Paso. Welcome back to Football Friday Night. Let's run down your Oscar Arrieta Agency scoreboard. In our 915 Tours Game of the Week, it's Franklin up 13-12. That game at half. We'll be right out with Adrian Broadus here at the top of the rotation. Steve Escajeda has a good one out at the sack. Second game of the sack is knotted at 14 apiece. About 2 minutes left to go in the first half. In the first game, it was America's 49-42 over El Dorado. Canutillo up 42-20. 5 minutes left to go in the third over Andrus. And Chapin up 35-zip over Burgess. That with about 8 left to go in the third. So Paso High 21-8 over Jefferson with 3 minutes left to go in the third. It's all Riverside on San Elias. They're going into the fourth quarter. Riverside up 51-6. Clint, 28. Mountain View, 14. 4 minutes left to go in the third.
28-21 now, Mark Miller.
28-21.
Here comes Mountain View.
We've got a game going. We'll have to get out to Joe Rodriguez, get an update on that one. And Fabens and Pecos. Pecos defeated Fabens 16-14. That game started at 6:30. All right, let's go to the top of the list. Our 915 Tours Game of the Week, East Lake and Franklin, with Adrian Broadus. Adrian?
3 minutes, 55 seconds left in the third quarter, and the Franklin Cougars are still leading the Eastlake Falcons 13-12 in a great back-and-forth game. I'll tell you how this one has gone so far in the third quarter. Eastlake drove all the way down the field against the Cougars. In fact, it was a Luke Lamelli 55-yard connection to Isae Parea, and they found themselves all the way down to the Cougar 11-yard line. But then a fumble occurred, and it was safety Yair Ramirez of Franklin who recovered the fumble, and Franklin moved the ball near midfield, but Eastlake just stopped them, forcing Franklin to punt near their own 34-yard line. So I'm going to send it back to you guys with 3 minutes, 11 seconds left here in the third quarter. Franklin still leads Eastlake 13-12.
And there's another case of it, Mark Miller. We already talked. This is how Eastlake won last week. Montwood kept making mistakes in plus territory. We just heard Fabens come out on the short end to 16-14 when they're easy field goal range tag into the first half, first and goal from the 3, and throw an end zone pick. And now Eastlake down at the 11 fumbles it away. Let's remember those 3 points. You got Julian Malucci as your kicker. That's a sure 3 points that they just flushed away, unfortunately. Good defense, nice hit. Terrific strip, I'm sure, from that Franklin defense. But, again, a big mistake at a big moment could cost Eastlake.
Good game going on at the SAC, the second game of the night. Pebble Hills and Montwood. Let's get out to Steve Escajeda. Steve?
Thanks a lot, guys. We've got 106 to go before halftime, and it's all tied up now, 14-14, Pebble Hills and Montwood. Pebble Hills just scoring Gail Ochoa, their quarterback, on a 6-yard run. They decided to go for 2. That made it 14-12. Ochoa, after scrambling quite a bit, finally found Marcus Torres, his wide receiver, in the back of the end zone for that 2-point conversion to tie things up at 14. Right now, we've got, again, just under a minute to go, 53 seconds to go before halftime. Montwood has driven the ball all the way down to the Pebble Hills 4-yard line, where they're looking at a second and goal from there. And, in fact, there's a timeout on the field right now, so Montwood trying to retake that lead just before halftime.
Steve, why don't you stay with us? Steve, stay with us.
All right.
We'll let you make that call. Let's get out to Jaime Chavez, Canutillo and Andrews. Jaime?
One left in the 11:21 left in the fourth quarter. It is Canutillo 42 and Andrus 20. And Canutillo quarterback Jeremiah Knox, he's got 3 touchdown passes, 53 and 45 yards to Lorenzo Areola. Also a 30-yard touchdown pass to L.J. Martin. And Knox also added a 4-yard touchdown run. L.J. Martin, an 8-yard touchdown run. Anthony Ayala, a 5-yard touchdown run for Canutillo. Martin has 15 carries, 152 yards rushing. And Knox, he's 8 of 12, 160 yards passing, and 3 touchdowns. The scoring for Andrus, Malcolm Anderson, touchdown runs of 39 and 3 yards. And Elias Duncan, a 1-yard touchdown run. So we've got 11-12 left in the fourth quarter at Andrus Stadium. Canutillo 42, Andrus 20.
Thank you, Jaime. Let's get out to Steve Escajeda with the call. Montwood, Pebble Hill. Steve?
Well, it is now 20-14 Montwood. Make that 21. They just added the extra point. On the very next play from the 4-yard line, Isaiah Claudio ran it in straight up the middle from there, again, to give Montwood a 21-14 lead with 46 seconds left to go before halftime. That could be a killer for Pebble Hills. But, again, both teams going back and forth tonight. It's the running attack of Pebble Hills against the passing attack of Montwood. Really good ball game here at the SAC. Again, 46 seconds to go before halftime. Montwood as we've taken the lead, they lead Pebble Hills 21-14.
And Mark, Steve nailed it exactly. The passing attack of Montwood is what makes them so dangerous. They have, I thought it was 4 receivers that can all catch the football. That's what they do. If you hit them, they're going to catch the football. But last week, Max Fuentes, who was one of those 4 receivers, he goes down. They bring just off the bench Jeremiah Steeb, and it was in a loss to Eastlake. But what's he do? Oh, a jump ball in the right corner end zone, touchdown, Steeb. Early third quarter, seam route, Steeb, 53 yards down the field. So, you got to give the coaches a little credit as well. Whoever's coaching these guys, coaching the schemes, these receivers are fearless, and they catch everything that goes their way. Diego Oaxaca, couple of touchdowns tonight. Last week, 14 catches for more than 200 yards. Remember the little brother of Yamil Oaxaca? Well, he's not the little brother anymore. He is the boss for that Montwood Air game. But, boy, Isaac Galvan has targets of opportunity, and if he puts the ball on them, they're going to catch it.
Let's get out to Joe Rodriguez, Mountain View and Clint. Joe?
End of the third quarter, and it is Clint leading the Mountain View Lobos by the score of 28-21. The Mountain View Lobos just completed a 62-yard drive over 12 plays that was capped off by a 3-yard touchdown run by Gilbert Gamboa, his third rushing touchdown of the night. This game is turning into the battle of Alexis Payares versus Gilbert Gamboa for the Mountain View Lobos. Right now, the Clint Lions just went 3 and out, and the Lobos are approximately about to hit midfield on third down here to start the fourth quarter. So I'm going to send it back to y'all in the studio. After 3 quarters, it is Clint leading Mountain View by the score of 28-21.
Comeback in that one, 28-21, that game just going into the fourth quarter. Let's get out to Jeremy Karanko, Burgess and Chapin. Jeremy?
45 seconds left to go in the third quarter, and Chapin is now leading Burgess 40-0. Since we last spoke, it was 35-0. A little bit of a funky last 2 plays or sets for Burgess. They look 3 and out, and then on the ensuing Chapin possession, they get a 24-yard field goal from Jovan Moreno. Made it 38-0, and Burgess on the next possession, their offense struggling on the night. Shut out twice in the year, and now no points, and then a blocked punt by Joshua Israel Chapin through the end zone. Made it 40-0, where we are right now. So a safety adds those 2 points, and now Burgess, as you know, changes possession in those safeties back to Chapin. So 37 seconds left to go, third quarter. It is Chapin 40 and Burgess 0.
All right, thank you very much, Jeremy. Let's get out to David Guest, El Paso High and Jefferson. David?
Yeah, El Paso High still leading this one, 21-8. The difference now, there's only 7 minutes left in the game, and Jefferson just came up empty. They went for it on 4th and goal, but quarterback Andre Lopez couldn't connect with his favorite receiver, Dylan Navarro. So El Paso has just taken over at their own 10-yard line, and they're holding a 21-8 lead again with just under 7 minutes to go in this one.
All right, thank you, David. Let's get out to J.D. Sursley, Riverside and San Eli. J.D.?
2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Riverside 51, San Eli 6. Riverside is just cruising and wasting the clock now. They've taken out all the big boys. Jose Guardado ended up with 180 on the ground, 78 catching yards, 3 touchdowns. Adrian Estrada, 2 touchdowns. Tristan Lopez, multiple touchdowns. 2. Ian Monteon, over 300 yards passing. Riverside all day, all night, 51 to San Eli 6, a minute and 30 left, winding the clock down.
Okay, thank you, J.D. That game, Riverside just dominating that game. Let's take a break right now. We come back, we'll get back out to some of our closer games tonight and get a halftime update from Steve Escajeda. You're listening to Football Friday Night on 600 ESPN El Paso.
Spirit in the Sky.
Welcome back to Football Friday Night. Let's get out to our 915 Tours Game of the Week. East Lake and Franklin with Adrian Broadus. Adrian?
27 seconds left here in the third quarter. Cougars have taken a 20-12 lead against the East Lake Falcons to build on their current lead right now. I'll tell you how it happened. It was quarterback Shea Smith hitting wide receiver Bo Sparks in stride for a 62-yard touchdown connection. Shea Smith is now 17-27 through the air, 234 passing, and he's got a pair of passing touchdowns to none other than Bo Sparks, who's got 9 catches, 161 receiving yards. You could just tell by the stats of how many times these two have hooked up tonight. And it's been a great game, back and forth battle on one end with East Lake. They're really getting a lot of production from their quarterback Luke Lamelli, not only on the ground, not only through the air, but also on the ground. And I also really like what I'm seeing from wide receiver Isae Perea. He has 6 catches, 112 receiving yards today, and also has 18 rushing yards as well. So I'm going to send it back to you guys. 27 seconds left here in the third quarter. Franklin on top of East Lake, 20-12.
And Mark, when Franklin went down a couple of weeks ago against Monwood, Bo Sparks only had 1 catch, a 39-yard catch early in the second half until the final drive of the contest. He's their alpha. I mean, aside from the quarterback Shea Smith, the receiver is the one who makes the plays and made no plays. Monwood found a way to shut him down. Well, East Lake, looking at that game film, they weren't able to duplicate that tonight. Sparks makes a huge play. When Sparks goes well, the Franklin Cougar offense goes well. They have a 20-12 lead.
All right, let's get out to Steve Escajeda, Pebble Hills, and Montwood for a halftime report. Steve?
It is halftime here at the SAC, and Montwood out in front of Pebble Hills, 21-14. Montwood scoring just before the end of the half on a Isaiah Claudio 4-yard run. That's the difference in the ball game so far. First of all, for Pebble Hills, again, that running attack, they've put up 159 yards. Here's a strange little stat here. Coming into the ball game, Pebble Hills a very balanced offense. 203 yards rushing, 175 passing. Not so much tonight. 159 yards on the ground, 2 yards passing. Gail Ochoa, 1 out of 5 through the air for those 2 yards. He had scored a touchdown on the ground. And Aaron Chacon had 59 yards on the ground. Jacob Ledesma, 53. But, again, no passing game whatsoever for Pebble Hills tonight. For the Montwood Rams, Isaiah Claudio leads them on the ground, 11 carries, 58 yards, and a touchdown. A couple of milestones were hit for Montwood, or either hit or come close to in the first half. Quarterback Isaac Galvan needed 64 yards to reach the 2,000 mark. Well, yeah, I think he did it. 14 for 25, 260 yards passing in the first half, 2 touchdowns and 1 pick. And the other guy was Diego Oaxaca. He needed 138 yards tonight to reach the 1,000-yard receiving number. Well, first half, 6 catches, 128 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So he's only 10 yards off of that. Paul spoke about him earlier. Jeremiah Steve also having a good ball game, 4 catches for 80 yards. Montwood, 327 total yards in that first half. As we said, 260 of those coming through the air. So it's halftime. We got a wild one. Great ball game here at the SAC. Montwood out in front of Pebble Hills, 21-14.
All right, thank you very much, Steve. Let's get out to Jaime Chavez. Canyon, Tio, and Andrus. Jaime?
5:33 left in the fourth quarter. Is Canutillo 49 and Andrus 20. L.J. Martin, a 98-yard touchdown run. Martin, 16 carries, 250 yards rushing, and he's closing in on that 1,000-yard mark for the season. And he also had an 8-yard touchdown run and caught a 30-yard touchdown pass from quarterback Jeremiah Knox. Knox, good numbers tonight. He's 9 of 13, 160-yard passing. 3 touchdown passes to Lorenzo Areola of 53 and 45 yards, and also that 30-yard touchdown pass to L.J. Martin. And Martin also has a 4-yard touchdown run as Andrus is at. They got a 4th and goal at the 14, and this will sail out of bounds. This pass to Jeremiah Duncan, or Elias Duncan, a lot of pressure on Duncan. He's been sacked 4 times tonight by the Canutillo defense, and Canutillo will take over at their own 14-yard line. And the scoring thus far for Malcolm Anderson, he's got touchdown runs of 39 and 3 yards. Elias Duncan, a 1-yard touchdown run. Malcolm Anderson on the ground, 13 carries, 93 yards rushing, and the 2 touchdowns. Duncan is 10 of 22, 150 yards passing. It's like we've got a timeout on the field. We'll send it back to you. We've got 5:25 left in the fourth quarter at Andrus Stadium. Canutillo 49 and Andrus 20.
All right, thank you very much, Jaime. Let's get out to Jeremy Karanko. Burgess and Chapin. Jeremy?
7:23, fourth quarter. It's Chapin 40 and Burgess 0. The freshman, we talked about him all night, Davion Singleton, 15 out of 21, 234 yards and 4 touchdowns. That'll be his final stat line. And through the ground, 99 yards rushing on 8 carries. As Aiden Quinn, the junior, replaces the freshman. Hey, let's give our freshman star quarterback some rest as he'll be done for the night. The Chapin going to be cruising to 2-0 in district. So 7:19, fourth quarter. It is Chapin 40 and Burgess 0.
Okay, thank you, Jeremy.
And Mark Rusbanister chimes in. 3 quarters complete out at Chaparral. Mighty Gadsden, 44-0 all over Chaparral.
All right, that through 3. All right. El Paso High and Jefferson. Let's get out to David Guest. Got a good one going out there. Probably about 5 minutes left to go in that game. David?
Yeah, 4:22 left in this one, and Jefferson just scored their second touchdown of the game. It's their first since the first drive of the game. The score now 21-15. El Paso leads, and Jefferson is not known for being a passing team. They actually haven't had a touchdown pass yet this season from a quarterback, but it was wide receiver Jorge Villanueva on the reverse play that threw an 11-yard touchdown pass to wide receiver Dylan Navarro, their number one option at receiver. It's actually his first touchdown of the season, though he has over 300 yards on the year. El Paso currently has the ball. On first down, Jerry Chires just ran the ball for 9 yards. Clock is ticking. 3 minutes and 54 seconds left. 2nd and 5. I'm sorry, it was only 5 yards for Chires. 2nd and 5 right now for El Paso, and the ball is in their hands. They got this one with a 6-point lead and just over 3.5 minutes to go.
All right, we'll check in with you shortly here, David. Let's go out to our 915 Tours Game of the Week with Adrian Broadus. Adrian?
8:46 left here in the game. The Cougars have taken a 2-touchdown lead against the Eastlake Falcons. They lead them 26-12 after Shea Smith, quarterback for the Cougars, hit wide receiver Elias Rangel on an 81-yard touchdown play on a slant pass. And now the Cougars have now gone up by 2 touchdowns. Extra point is no good. Cougars up 26-12, again with 8:46 to go in this game.
All right, thank you, Adrian. Let's get out to Joe Rodriguez, Mountain View in Clint. Joe?
2:43 left in the ball game, and it is Clint leading Mountain View by a score of 28-21. Right now, the Mountain View Lobos are 3rd and 10 from their own 25-yard line and just dumped off a quick little screen pass for 4 yards. It's going to be 3rd and 6. It was 2nd and 10. It's going to be 3rd and 6 coming up for the Mountain View Lobos from their own 29-yard line. I do have to say that there has been 2 questionable decisions by each head coach late in this game. The Mountain View Lobos decided to go for it on 4th and 9 in their own territory at their own 46-yard line. They tried to convert. They failed to convert. Turnover on downs on the ensuing possession, the Clint Lions. It was 2nd and 18 at the Mountain View Lobo 30-yard line, 2nd and 18, and they passed the ball to get it intercepted, to which brings us to where we're at right now with less than 2 minutes to go in the game. The Mountain View Lobos just got a first down, and he just heaves it deep, and it is caught by number 11 for the Mountain View Lobos at the Clint Lions 21-yard line. Abraham Martinez on the reception, and it is first and 10 from the Mountain View Lobos at their own 21-yard line, and we have a timeout on the field. Coach, for Clint, Coach Martinez, go ahead, decides to call a timeout with 1:47 left in the game. Gentlemen, what do you want me to do?
Why don't you stay there, stay on hold. We're going to go out to David Gist, El Paso, Jefferson, and we're going to come right back to you. So, David, you got it.
Yeah, guys, the teams are coming out of their huddles, and El Paso is lining up. If you guys want to stay with me, El
We're
Paso
staying
is
with
lining
you.
up for. Well, okay, thank you. El Paso is lining up for a fourth and what looks like a long 1 yard. And they're actually, El Paso is still in the huddle now. They're coming out of the huddle. So 4th and 1 coming up for El Paso. We're down to 1 minute and 40 seconds left. El Paso leads 21-15. Jerry Chires lining up under the center for El Paso. Got two receivers, wide to his left. And they're both going to motion to the right side at the 45-yard line of Jefferson. And Chires breaks it out, goes out wide to the left end, past his left tackle for over 10 yards, looks about 15 yards. That's going to be a first down for El Paso, and that might just be it.
All right, David, we'll come back to you for a final update. Let's get out to Joe Rodriguez, Mountain View and Clint. Joe?
Okay, Mark, we have 1:47 left in the ball game, and it is 1st and 10 from the Mountain View, or from the Clint Lions, 21-yard line for Mountain View. Mountain View just had a false start. So right now it is 1st and 15 from the 26-yard line. Shotgun formation for the Clint Lions as the quarterback scrambles for the Mountain View Lions. He's scrambling left, and he is going to take the sack at the Mountain View, at the Clint 31-yard line with 1:34 left in the game. The clock keeps running. We have less than 90 seconds to go in the game, and it is going to be 2nd down and about 20 yards to go for the Mountain View Lobos. The quarterback for the Mountain View Lobos, Joe Padilla, scrambled on that one and got sacked. Once again, is Padilla out of the shotgun formation. He keeps it left towards the end zone, and it is incomplete. It will be now 3rd and 21 for the Mountain View Lobos with 1:10 left in the game. It's been an interesting game, this entire game of the Mountain View Lobos. Obviously, with their high-powered offense, had the potential to get back into this one after trailing at halftime by the score of 28-7. Obviously, the Mountain View Lobos defense has done quite heck of a job keeping the Lions scoreless in the second half. Here we go. 3rd and 21, shotgun, 3 receivers to the right. Quarterback heaves it once again down into the end zone, looking for his receiver, and he finds his receiver, caught at the Clint Lion 3-yard line for the Mountain View Lobos. Hansel Hernandez on the reception. It is going to be 1st and 10 coming up from the Clint 3-yard line for the Mountain View Lobos. Shotgun formation, and we have a timeout on the field. The Clint Lions take a timeout. It'll be their 2nd timeout of the half.
Okay,
Gentlemen,
Joe, just stay with us. I'm going to run down some scores here. When they're ready to come up to the line of scrimmage, just jump right in. Right now, Mountain View threatening to score. They're on the Clint 3-yard line. Clint leading 28-21. I believe that's probably with about 1:20 left to go. A final score, Pecos defeated Fabian 16-14. A good one going on over at Franklin as Franklin is leading Eastlake 26-12 with 8 minutes left to go in the game. They're at half out at the sack between Montwood and Pebble Hills. Montwood up 21-14. Canutillo putting this one away against Andrus. They're up 49-20 with 5 minutes left to go in that one. It was all Chapin tonight, 40-zip. 7 minutes left to go in that game over Burgess. And a good one over at El Paso High, as El Paso High is probably going to hold on to win this game as they have possession of the ball, and we'll probably run the clock out 21-15. All right, Joe, take it away.
Shotgun formation, tight pack, handoff to Gamboa, and he is stopped at the line of scrimmage. It will be, actually loses 1 yard, and it'll be 2nd and goal from the Clint Lions 4th-yard line. That was the 12th play of the drive, a drive that started at the Mountain View Lobos at the Mountain View Lobos 2-yard line, and now we have another timeout on the field. This time it is taken by the Mountain View Lobos. Mark, timeout on the field.
Joe, how many timeouts do both teams have?
The Mountain View, they each have 1 timeout left.
Okay, so we're looking at a 2nd down and goal on the 4-yard line for Mountain View. And how much time is left in that one?
48 seconds, 48.9 seconds.
All right, plenty of time to score. They can run 3 plays if they have to. All right, last night's game, Eastwood defeated Socorro 57-7. And in the first game of a doubleheader today over at the SAC, Americas defeated El Dorado 49-42, and it's all Gadsden over Chaparral. That game in the 4th quarter, 44-0. Bowie defeated Irvin 28-21. As I just mentioned to you before, Franklin up 26-12, 8 minutes left to go in our 915 Tours game of the week. Let's get Adrian on the line again. And let's also get Jaime on the line as a backup here, as Canutillo is pretty much, that game is pretty much out of reach for Andrus right now, 49-20. There was 5 minutes left to go in the 4th quarter. Jaime's probably pretty close to a final there, so we can get his wrap-up. And Chapin all over Burgess, 40-0. That one's probably going to be final here shortly. In El Paso High and Jefferson, let's get David up on the line, too. I believe that game's probably going to go final. El Paso High should hold on to that one, 21-15. They had less than a minute left to go with a 1st down and 10, and I don't think Jefferson had but maybe 1 timeout left in that one. Final Riverside track meet over San L.A., 51-6. And like we're talking right now, good game going on out at Clint. Clint trying to hold on, 28-21. Mountain View threatening on their 4-yard line. Go ahead and take it, Joe. Oh, we got Joe, though, don't we? Okay, Joe, take it away. Joe, go ahead and take it away.
Okay, thank you very much, Mark. And the Mountain View Lobos have just scored from 4 yards out. They ran a spread of formation and handed off to the running back, Gilbert Gamboa, for his 4th touchdown of the night. And guess what? The Mountain View Lobos have decided to go for 2, and they went out for a formation to go for 2 and go to take the lead with 45 seconds left, and the Mountain View Lobos lined up and called a timeout. So now both teams are coming out of the timeout. Clarification, neither team has any more timeouts. The friendly staff here at the press box reminded me that Clint doesn't have any timeouts either. So here we go for the 2-point conversion for the Mountain View Lobos. Padilla in the shotgun pistol formation. He hands it off to Gamboa. Gamboa breaks to the left, and he dives in, and he is short of the end zone. He is short, no doubt about it. The Clint Lions stop Christian Gamboa on the 2-point conversion to make the score 28-27. The Clint Lions are holding on to the lead with 45 seconds left in the ball game, Mark.
Stay on line because we're going to see an onside kick here.
So. And remember, Mark Miller, Mountain View has already covered 2 of these. Surprise onsides to start the second half. They got them both. They're going to have to pull off the hat trick if they want to win this big game.
Okay, Angel, we're going to keep him queued up. And, Joe, you just take it away. Just interrupt what we're doing here. We're going to try to get out to Adrian.
From Dave Guest, final out at R.R. Jones Stadium, 21-15, the El Paso High Tigers. Jerry Titus, the quarterback, returns, and they come away with a big win over Jefferson.
All right, we'll get to Dave shortly and get a final on his game and get some stats on it. And I know we had Adrian keyed in here. Let's go out to Adrian real quick, and let's get him on the air. And Adrian, are you there? Adrian, are you there?
Hey, guys, 3 minutes left in
the game. Make it quick, Adrian.
The Franklin... Yep, 3 minutes left in the game. Cougars up 26-12 against Eastlake. The Cougars just stopped the Falcons at the Franklin Cougar 48-yard line, and the Cougars trying to run out the clock. So, again, 3 minutes to go. Cougars up 26-12 over Eastlake.
All right, thank you, Adrian. Let's get back out to Joe Rodriguez. Mountain View and Clint looking for the onside kick here.
Oh, here we go. Both teams are on the field, and obviously it is no secret the Mountain View Lobos are going to be going for the onside kick. They break the huddle. They kick the ball. It goes 10 yards. It goes a little bit further, and it might have been recovered by Mountain View. Although the Clint Lions are pretty sure there is a scramble at the Clint 42-yard line. The officials have yet to make an indication, and the Lions have the ball with 45 seconds to go in the game. It is going to be the Clint Lions taking possession of the football at their own 42-yard line. Right now with the score being the Clint Lions leading the Mountain View Lobos by the score of 28-27.
All right, Joe, good job. That'll probably stay that way. They just have to take a knee. No timeouts left for Mountain View, so that game's pretty much in the books unless something really strange and it's not Halloween yet.
And the 11th straight loss for Mountain View versus Clint. Last time they won this thing, 2012, 21-12 winners. And, gosh, that was back with that Flores kid, a couple of touchdowns. Nice player. Saw him in the Senior Bowl. He didn't catch too many Mountain View games back then.
All right, we've got about 4 games that went final. El Paso High, as Paul just mentioned, defeated Jefferson 21-15. Riverside defeated San Eli 51-6. And Pecos defeated Fabin 16-14. It's Franklin up over Eastlake 26-12, and that would be a big win for Franklin. 3 minutes left to go in that game. We're going to get out to Adrian Broadus real quick here. Montwood up 21-14 that game at half. Let's get Adrian on the line again if we can, Angel. And then Jaime Chavez, whenever you're ready, call in and we'll get your final report. Canutillo 49-20. There was 5 minutes left in that one. It's probably over by now. And also Jeremy Karanko, Chapin, and Burgess is 40-0. That was about 7. Is that final?
And that one's gone final. 40-7. Burgess gets a consolation touchdown at the end. I guess the offense can save face. They didn't get shut out.
Okay, let's go to David Guest for a final wrap-up on El Paso High and Jefferson. David? Go ahead, David.
El Paso improves to 4-3 as they're victorious tonight, 21-15 over Jefferson. El Paso, as I mentioned, improves to 4-3. They're now 1-1 in district. Jefferson falls to 3-4, and they're 0-2 in district play. This game began with on the opening drive, Jefferson drove down the field, and it capped off their drive with a 10-yard touchdown run from quarterback Roman Gomez. He also scored a 2-point conversion. After that, it was all about the return of quarterback Jerry Chires for El Paso after a 4-game absence. Finishes tonight with over 250 all-purpose yards and 2 touchdown scores, but it was his clutch play that really made the difference in this one. Late in the fourth quarter, with under 2 minutes to go, he lines up for a quarterback, what looked like a quarterback sneak. It ended up being a quarterback sneak, but he takes it to the outside around his left tackle for a 15-yard run. That was a first down for El Paso. Jefferson had 1 timeout left. They used that, but El Paso ran out the clock to win this one. Again, as I mentioned, they improved to 4-3, 1-1 in district. Jefferson falling to 3-4, 0-2 in district play. 60 yards rushing for running back Rubio for Jefferson. Sorry, I'll get you a first name for Rubio there. That was Miguel Rubio, over 60 yards. The touchdown for Gomez. First touchdown pass of the season for Jefferson, going to wide receiver Dylan Navarro. But again, coming up short tonight in El Paso with the victory. Great news for El Paso. I'm hearing from the father and also linebackers coach for El Paso, Coach Johnson, father of Lorenz Johnson, running back, is expected to be back next week at Burgess. So El Paso is rolling with only good things to come.
All right, David, final out there. Great job. 21-15 El Paso High over Jefferson. Let's go with the Jaime Chavez for a wrap-up on Canutillo and Andrus. Jaime?
It's a final. Canutillo 49 and Andrus 20 at Andrus Stadium. Quarterback Jeremiah Knox of Canutillo, he had 3 touchdown passes, 53 and 45 yards to Lorenzo Arreola. Also a 30-yard touchdown pass to L.J. Martin. Martin had touchdown runs of 98 and 8 yards. Anthony Ayala for Canutillo, a 5-yard touchdown run, and Knox added a 4-yard touchdown run for the Eagles. Knox was 9 of 13, 160 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and 1 touchdown run. L.J. Martin, 16 carries, 250 yards rushing, and touchdown runs of 98 and 8 yards, and 1 TD reception of 30 yards. Arriola caught 4 passes for 108 yards and 2 touchdowns. The scoring for Andrus, Malcolm Anderson, touchdown runs of 39 and 3 yards. And Elias Duncan also had a 1-yard touchdown run. Duncan was 10 of 22, 150 yards passing, and he had 35 yards rushing on 4 carries. Anderson, 13 carries, 92 yards rushing, and 2 touchdowns. Canutillo is now 5-2 overall, 2-0 in district, and they'll host Chapin next Friday. Andrus falls to 2-5, 1-1 in district, and they're at Jefferson next week. The final, once again, in Northeast El Paso, Canutillo 49 and Andrus 20.
And let's get out to Adrian Broadus, Eastlake Franklin. Franklin up 26-12. That was about 3 minutes left to go. That's got to be close to over. Adrian?
Hey, guys, 2 minutes left in this game. Cougars up 26-12 against the Eastlake Falcons. Now, there have been 3 turnovers on downs in this game, 2 fumble turnovers, a block punt, and a safety in this one. Franklin drove it all the way down to the Eastlake 23-yard line. It was a turnover on downs, and the Falcons have a little bit of life, down 2 scores. They've got 2 timeouts left, and they're driving near midfield. Franklin was just called for a roughing the passer penalty, and as a result, the refs are keeping this game alive. So we've got 2 minutes left here in the game as the Franklin Cougars lead the Eastlake Falcons 26-12.
All right, thank you, Adrian. Let's get out to Jeremy Karanko right now for a final update on his Burgess-Chapin game. Jeremy?
It's a final here from Irvin Memorial Stadium. Chapin defeats Burgess 40-7. For the Huskies, moving to 3-4 and 2-0 in district play. And how about next week? Canutillo and Chapin in a fantastic game with 2 undefeated teams now. And leading the way for the Chapin Huskies, Davion Singleton, the freshman, now 3-0 as a starter on the quarterback side. 15 out of 21 through the air, 234 yards and 4 touchdowns. Those receivers, Anthony Rivera was one, 38 yards and a touchdown. Savion Jordan is leading receiver for the Huskies, 112 yards tonight and 2 touchdowns. And Brent Hallman, his best night as a Husky, 82 yards and a touchdown on 3 receptions. 400 total yards for the Huskies. Davion Singleton, also 99 yards rushing on the ground. For the Burgess Mustangs, disappointing start. Worst start since 2014 for Burgess, to 2-5 and 0-2 in district play. Andrew Rutledge, though, did find a touchdown late to Adrian Gomez for 49 yards. Score Rutledge 12 out of 19, 128 yards and a touchdown. Ed rushing, Caleb Hanna Jr. in his 3rd start on the year, 93 yards. 14 carries for Burgess next week, 2-5, disappointing 0-2. They will host El Paso. And as I mentioned, Chapin is facing Canutillo, a battle between 2 undefeateds in 2-5A. So a final here tonight at a game that was moved to Irvin from Austin. It is a final, Chapin 40 and Burgess 7.
All right, Jeremy, good job out there. Let's get out to Mountain View Clint for a final wrap from Joe Rodriguez. Joe, you had a good one tonight.
Thank you very much, Mark. All done here out in the Lower Valley, where the hosting Clint Lions have defeated the Mountain View Lobos by the score of 28-27. An amazing game that developed here, especially in the second half, where the Mountain View Lobos came roaring back to essentially tie the game, or not tie the game, to pull the game even, but instead of going for the tie on the extra point, went for the 2-point conversion. Obviously, the players for the Knights were their 2 running backs for the Clint Lions. Alexis Payares, he scored all of the touchdowns in the first half. He had a total of 13 rushes tonight for 138 yards and 4 touchdowns. And for the Mountain View Lobos on the other side, it was Gilbert Gamboa who rushed the ball 18 times, 151 yards and 4 touchdowns on the night. For the Clint Lions, a total of 301 yards, all on the ground in typical fashion. That's the way Coach Martinez likes it. For Mountain View, they were they proved out to be the balanced team that they like to be. They ran the ball 22 times for 165 yards, and then the quarterback, Joel Padilla, went 13 for 25 for 145 yards, 310 total yards of offense, 310 to 301 yards, even just like the score indicated. But, of course, it was the Clint Lions that picked up the win. Next week, Clint will travel to Pecos, while Mountain View will host Fort Stockton up in Montana Vista. And I guess that's it out here in the Lower Valley. The Clint Lions pick up their third win of the season, first one in district play, by defeating the Mountain View Lobos by the score of 28-27.
All right, Joe, great job tonight. And let's get out to Steve Escajeda, Pebble Hills and Montwood. Steve, we didn't forget about you.
We've got, we just started the second half, 10:47 to go in the third quarter, and Montwood leading Pebble Hills 21-14. As we said earlier, it's been the Isaac Galvan show, the quarterback for Montwood, 15 out of 26. He just completed his first passer in the second half, 269 yards already in the ball game, two touchdowns and one pick. His favorite receiver has been Diego Oaxaca, 6 catches, 128 yards, and a couple of touchdowns. And right now, Montwood has the ball at just past midfield. They have the ball first and 10 at the Pebble Hills 41-yard line, looks like. There's, again, a player down the field they're looking at, so the officials have called a timeout. But, again, we just started the second half here at the SAC, 10:30. Left to go in the third quarter. Montwood out in front of Pebble Hills, 21-14.
They're here in about 2 minutes. We got Adrian Broadus on the line, Angel. Let's get out to Adrian Broadus and her 915 Tours Game of the Week. Adrian.
Guys, we've got just 40 seconds left here in this one. The Eastlake Falcons driving down the field, but the Franklin Cougars still leading Eastlake 26-12. It's been Luke Lamelli, the sophomore quarterback for the Eastlake Falcons, that drove the Falcons team down the field. They're threatening on the Cougars' 13-yard line. Remember, they still have 2 timeouts, but time is running out here, guys, as they're trying to punch one in and make this one a one-score game instead of a two-score game. Luke Lamelli, the sophomore quarterback, is 17 of 26 through the air, 243 passing yards. Had a great game. It's just not able to capitalize inside Franklin territory, not being able to overcome the turnovers. That's been the big story against Eastlake. And Luke Lamelli's pass on fourth down from the Cougar 13-yard line is incomplete on fourth down, and that will be a turnover on downs. Cougars will take over and likely run this one out. So, again, I'm going to send it back to you guys. We've got just under a minute to go here at Franklin High School. The Cougars lead the Eastlake Falcons 26-12.
All right, thank you, Adrian and Paul. That's a big, big win for Franklin right there.
But and mostly because we've talked about teams, that want to get in the playoffs. Franklin is not a team that wants to get in the playoffs. Franklin, the reigning District 168 champs, they want to be district champs again. That's their goal. I think that's their goal most every year. And they have their destiny in their own hands. Remember, their one loss was to Montwood. That's a team that's going to wind up, they got a real shot at Pebble Hills tonight at the upset. But that's a team that's really fighting for fourth place in the district. Franklin's looking at teams like Eastwood. They're looking at teams like Pebble Hills. And they were looking at a team like undefeated Eastlake tonight. Well, they took down Eastlake. Pebble Hills and Eastwood are still on the agenda, and Franklin wants to just run the table on that one. Finish the season with one win. Maybe somebody's tied with them, but they can look at themselves in the mirror and say, we beat all these dudes we're tied with. We're the champs of this district, whether we're tied or not.
Let's go down your scoreboard right now. We've got a lot of games that are final. Pebble Hills and Montwood. Montwood up 21-14. That's the second game of a doubleheader at the SAC. About 10 minutes left to go in the third there. In the first game, it was America's 49, El Dorado 42. And like we were just talking, Franklin holding on to a 26-12 lead with 46 seconds left in the game and possession. So it looks like they're going to pull that one out, and that's a big win for them. It was all Canutillos. They defeated Andrews 49-20, and Chapin destroyed Burgess 40-7. Burgess finally getting on the scoreboard in about the last 5 minutes. El Paso High 21, Jefferson 15, and a big win for El Paso High. all Riverside as they defeated San L.A. 51-6. And in a great one, down at Clint. Clint holds Mountain View off and wins 28-27. Mountain View going for two within 1 minute left to play and couldn't get it. It was Pecos defeating Fabin 16-14. And last night, Eastwood defeated Socorro 57-7. And Bowie defeated Irvin 28-21. Gadsden up 44-zip that game in the fourth quarter over Chaparral. Let's take a break right now. You're listening to Football Friday Night on 600 ESPN El Paso. All right, welcome back to Football Friday Night. We got a little action going on out at the SAC between Pebble Hills and Montwood. Let's get out to Steve Escajeda. Steve?
Minutes and counting here left to go. We've got 6 minutes and counting here in the third quarter. It is now Pebble Hills 21, Montwood 21. Pebble Hills scoring on a Zarian Quarles 3-yard run, just pounding it in there to tie the ball game up. Right now, like you figure, right? Montwood now is trying to answer. They're down to they've got a first down at the Pebble Hills 40-yard line and moving. But again, Quarles so far in the night for Pebble Hills, 12 carries, 79 yards, and that touchdown. And again, Pebble Hills leading heavily on that running game, 195 yards on the ground tonight, only 2 yards still through the air. So 5:25 and counting. Again, Montwood trying to answer. They're at the Pebble Hills 40-yard line. First and 10 from there. It is, again, 5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Pebble Hills 21, Montwood 21.
All right, Steve, why don't you just stay on hold? We're going to go to Adrian Broadus and get Adrian out of that Franklin Eastlake game. That game has gone final. So, Paul, did you want to add something?
Yeah, just a name we haven't heard in about 6 weeks is Zarian Quarles, the sophomore running back for Pebble. And he was their starter. As I said, went down week 2, and like I said, we've been waiting on him ever since. Sam Chacon, Jacob Ledesma picked up the slack, but Pebble's got to be happy to have him back in there. They're going to need him in this nip and tuck game, 21-all, going to the fourth.
All right, let's go to Adrian Broadus on our 915 Tours Game of the Week, Eastlake and Franklin. Adrian?
Hey, guys, it's all a final here at our Game of the Week. The Franklin Cougars beat the Eastlake Falcons 26-12. To keep their district title hopes alive. The Franklin Cougars were led by quarterback Shea Smith. Going into this game, over 1,200 passing yards, 18 passing touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Well, he added 3 passing touchdowns today, making his total on the year 21 passing touchdowns. He had 315 passing yards through the air, 18 of 30 through the air, and also contributed with 86 rushing yards to go along with his play. You look at wide receiver Bo Sparks. He hasn't gotten a lot of love throughout colleges, but what a game he had tonight. 9 catches, 161 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns on the night. Just an amazing performance by the senior standout. And then you look on the Eastlake side of things. I really like what sophomore quarterback Luke Lamelli has been doing through the air going into this game, over 1,000-yard passer. He finished this one 243 through the air. He also contributed with 17 through 26 through the air. You look at Isai Perea. He contributed 7 catches, 118 receiving yards today. And defensively, Franklin just all over the place. Jordan Morales with a block punt. You had safety Bo Sparks with 2 fumble recoveries as well. Also, you look at a big sack by Nick Garcia, a huge one on the night as well to go along with it. I've got some live action. I've got both Bo Sparks and Shea Smith with me. Going to do a little crosstalk interview with them, if that's okay with you guys.
Sure, go right ahead, Adrian.
All right. So I've got senior wide receiver Bo Sparks along with junior quarterback Shea Smith with me here live at Franklin High School. We'll start with you, Bo. A big game, 9 catches, over 100 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns, and then also 2 fumbles on the defensive side. What was today like for you guys?
Man, it was just a battle, man. 2 good teams going at it, and we came out on top. So it was just a great game, great environment, fun. Love the game.
How big is this game for you guys? You guys dropped the game against Montwood. You have the bye week to kind of refocus, and then a huge one with district title implications on the line.
I mean, this is a huge week. Against Montwood, we just played bad. We just had a bad week, and then we came together as a team, bounced back, and got it done. So,
what can you say about your quarterback, Shea Smith, right here?
Man, me and Shea put in the work in the offseason every day, worked out on the field every day, and it shows on the field our chemistry, and just a great player, made big-time plays in big-time games.
How about that 62-yard touchdown connection? He threw that one to the moon, and you caught it.
Hey, I just told Shea, at a half, we saw the post was open there in cover 2, so we were like, just run post, and I told Shea just trusted me, and he just threw it, and I came down with it.
Bo, thank you so much. Let's go over to Shea Smith, junior quarterback. He's been outstanding all year long, 315 through the air, 3 touchdown passes as well. Shea, what was today like for you?
It was amazing, Our team did amazing. We prepared for this game. The whole week, everybody was battling out in practice. We needed this win. We needed to be on top again, and we just keep working hard and be humbled and keep going.
In the first half, you guys played really chippy. You guys were kind of going short plays, just trying to get at the Eastlake defense. And in the second half, things really opened up for you guys. What was the difference in the second half offensively?
It was we needed those big plays. It's like a boxing match. You come out with little jabs first, you come out with those big hits. So, this is a very sophisticated game. We need to get those yardage, then we need to go big over the top. So that's what we did.
Turnovers on defense were huge for you guys. What did the defense do for you?
Defense did amazing. They did lights out. They've been lights out all practice week. They made us compete during all practice. We needed that, especially a defense like that, Eastlake. We needed that, so we competed very well.
Pebble Hills next week. What's your thoughts on this one?
It's going to be another dogfight. We should work harder. Be humble. We need to execute better. Yep.
Shay, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Hey, that's all with Bo Sparks, Shay Smith. Thank you guys so much. The Franklin Cougars, again, closing things out here at Franklin High School. They defeat the Eastlake Falcons 26-12. And next week, the Cougars have the Pebble Hills Spartans. I just mentioned that on Thursday. And then followed by the Eastlake Falcons. They've got a bye next week. They also have Pebble Hills in 2 weeks. So I'll send it back to you guys. A wrap here from our 915 Tours Game of the Week. The Franklin Cougars beat out the Eastlake Falcons 26-12.
All right, Adrian, great job tonight in our 915 Tours Game of the Week. Franklin defeats Eastlake 26-12. And right now, Pebble Hills and Montwood are knotted at 21 apiece with 6 minutes left to go in the third quarter. That, of course, is the second game of a double hitter out at the SAC. Americas defeated El Dorado 49-42 in the first game. It was Canutillo defeating Andrus 49-20. It was Chapin up over Burgess 40-7. And in a good one over at El Paso High, El Paso High defeated Jefferson 21-15. Riverside all over San Eli 51-6. In a great game down in the valley there, Clint defeated Mountain View, held on when Mountain View went for 2 and came up a yard short. They defeated Mountain View 28-27. And that's a district game for those two and a very important game for them, Paul.
Yeah, without a doubt. But of the games you just went across, the one that I'm looking at right now, again, is that Franklin game. A huge victory for Franklin, 26-12 over Eastlake. And the thing I'm looking at, of those 12 points for Eastlake, remember, they returned the opening kickoff of the night for a touchdown. The Solis kid, 84-yard touchdown return. Their next points came on a safety, that Eastlake defense, which I think we got to call them the best in the city at this point. But they force a safety, so that's 9. The only points generated from the Eastlake offense tonight, a 40-yard field goal from the senior kicker, Julian Murillo. Otherwise, the Franklin defense, a team that gave up 43 points 2 weeks ago, their last game, at the SAC versus Montwood in that 43-42 loss. You talk about reality check. I know Eastlake can't throw the football the way the Montwood Rams do, but they are still formidable, and this Franklin defense showed up and was really lights out.
Big win for Franklin tonight. They take on Pebble Hills next week. That'll be a good game also. We got Steve Escajeda on the line. Let's get out and get let's get an update on his game. It was 21-21 with 6 left to go between Pebble Hills and Montwood. Steve?
We've got 1:28 to go in the third quarter. Montwood has now taken a 28-21 lead on a touchdown pass. What else? Isaac Galvan, 25 yards to Caleb Alvarez to make it 28-21. But now Pebble Hills is looking at a fourth down at the Montwood 5-yard line, 4th and 3, trying to answer. And there's going to be a flag. It's going to be procedure on Pebble Hills. Somebody on the line moved early. That's going to make it a 4th down and 8 yards to go. And in fact, now here comes the field goal team to try to get a little bit closer. Pebble Hills got there on a 66-yard completion from Ochoa to Jaleel Bose. Set them up at the Montwood 13-yard line. That's how they got here so quickly. They're going to go ahead and give it a try from 27 yards out. And the snap is down, the kick is up, and the kick by Pebble Hills is good. That is Aaron Ortega with a 27-yard field goal. That makes it 28-24 Montwood with 1 minute exactly to go in the third quarter. Again, really, really good ball game, but some crazy numbers by Isaac Galvan, the quarterback of Montwood. 18 out of 31 so far, 327 yards, 3 touchdown passes. He does have 2 interceptions as well. Diego Oaxaca, 8 catches, 161 yards, 2 touchdowns. Again, these teams going back and forth. And prior to that 66-yard completion by Pebble Hills, they'd had one all night for just 2 yards. And again, that big completion set them up at the Montwood 13-yard line, which led to that 27-yard field goal. So we've got 1 minute to go exactly in the third quarter. We're going to have a great one tonight, looks like. It's Montwood 28, Pebble Hills 24.
All right, thank you, Steve. You're the only show on the road right now with all the games final. Padres holding on to a 2-1 lead. I think it's the top of the 8th, if I'm not mistaken.
Sounds about right.
Dodgers.
I tell you what, I think we just saw a football coach who's confident in his team and really, I think, shows some maturity. You're down 7. You got 4th and a little bit of distance, chip shot range. You decide to opt for the field goal, get those 3 points. So at least now when you score that touchdown that you're going to need to score, you're not looking to score to tie anymore. You're looking to score and take the lead and ultimately win the contest.
28-24, 1 minute left to go in the third quarter. Montwood up over Pebble Hills. Let's take a break right now. You're listening to Football Friday Night, 600 ESPN El Paso. All right, welcome back to Football Friday night. Everything's final except for one game right now. That's Pebble Hills and Montwood, the second game of the SAC. First game was America's 49, El Dorado 42. America's goes to 3-3 and stays in the hunt there in the 6A. The Montwood Pebble Hills game, the second one, Montwood up 28-24. We're going to get out Steve Escajeda shortly. In our 915 Tours game of the week, it was Franklin 26-12 winners over Eastlake. That's their first loss. Puts Franklin in the driver's seat right now. Canutillo all over Andrews 49-20 and Chapin all over Burgess 40-7. El Paso High defeated Jefferson 21-15. Riverside track meet over at down in the valley there as they defeated San Eli 51-6, and a great one out at Clint as Mountain View comes up 1 yard short when they went for two inside 1 minute. And Clint held on to beat them 28-27, and a big win by Paco 16-14 on over Fabens in a game I don't think anybody wanted to win. Eastwood defeated Socorro last night 57-7, and Bowie defeated Irvin 28-21. And Gadsden was up 44-zip in the fourth quarter. Paul, you got anything you want to add?
Yeah, just a little Monday morning quarterbacking. I mean, anytime something doesn't work out, it's no guts, no glory these days. High school teams, and it's rubbing off on the colleges as well. And you even see it sometimes in the pros. Let's go for the win. Let's show confidence in our team. Let's be aggressive. Let's make aggressive mistakes. Well, Mountain View made an aggressive mistake. All I'm looking at is halftime. What was the score at half? Was it 28-0?
It was 10-6. Well, I'm sorry. It was 28-7.
Well, at one point it was I remember 28-28. The Payanes kid had 4 touchdowns. Mountain View with a big comeback. You were down, at the very least 28-7. You were down. All of a sudden it's 28-27, and we're going to go for the win. Man, the momentum is already on your side, my friends. You've scored, 21 points in a row? You are currently the better team with your backup quarterback who threw 6 interceptions a week ago. I'm not sure we need to win this right now. We've been kicking their tail for the last 24 minutes. Let's kick the extra point, and if we have to go to overtime to do it, well, who is the team making the plays right now? We are. We don't necessarily have to gamble. And even having said that, Gil Gamboa, who had 4 touchdown runs, that's a big part of it. They had a lot of confidence in him. And that offensive line comes up about a half a yard short or maybe a yard. And they don't get that extra point. They're down a point. Now they got to try and recover a third onside kick of the second half. And that came close, but just did not happen. I'm a momentum guy. Kick the extra point. Let's play this thing out and win it on the field.
All right, let's go out to Steve Escajeda, Pebble Hills and Montwood. Steve?
We've got 8:40 and counting to go here in the ball game. It's still 28-24 Montwood, but right now Pebble Hills is starting them on a drive. They've got the ball on their own 44-yard line, 1st and 10 here near midfield. And again, they've been running those running backs. This time they're going to hand the ball off again. This time it's going to be Sam Chacon. That's going to be a gain of about 6 yards, making it a 2nd down and 4 from the Montwood, from midfield actually, from the 50-yard line. And again, 28-24, 8:23 and counting. Montwood holding on to a very slim 28-24 lead. But again, they're going to have to try to find an answer for this Pebble Hills running game, which is just gaining 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 yards a pop. They can't seem to stop it. And the only problem is that once Montwood gets the ball, they can't stop Galvan's arm. So here we go. Ochoa takes the snap. He's going to go ahead and pick the handoff. He's just going to throw the ball to the right side. It's going to be complete, and that's going to be cut by that'll be Marcus Torres right there on the sideline. Maybe a pickup of it's going to be close to the first down. Let's see where they're going to mark that ball. And it's right on the marker. Let's see if they give him first down or not.
They will.
7:45 to go in the ball game. And in fact, there's a penalty on the Montwood defense. I didn't catch what that was. That's going to be I think a personal foul, 15 yards. So that where they marked the ball is going to be moot. So that's going to bring it all the way down to the Montwood 31-yard line, where it's going to set up a 1st and 10 for Pebble Hills right there. Someone did something they weren't supposed to for the Rams. Did a no-no. Again, 7:38. The clock is ticking. Here in the fourth quarter, Pebble Hills in the shotgun. Gail Ochoa waiting the snap. And he's got it. He's going to go ahead and hand that ball up to Ledesma. Right up the middle. It's going to be another big gain of about 5 yards. 5 exactly. That'll set up a 2nd down and 5 yards to go down to the Montwood 26-yard line. 7-10, 7-9 going into this ball game. Pebble Hills needing a touchdown to take the lead. And again, until Montwood's been able to find a way to stop this running game, Pebbles might just go right in here and do just that. Here we go. 2nd down, about 5 yards to go. Ochoa is going to hand this ball up to the big guy. That's going to be Azarian Quarles. He's going to have a 1st down right at about the 20-yard line. And again, they're just getting these big old yards every single carry. And Quarles is such a big man. He's just carries guys with him. And in fact, he's so big there's a Montwood defender on the ground, and he's staying on the ground. They're going to come take a look, and there's going to be a timeout on the field. Again, we've got 6:46 now to go in this one. Montwood holding on to a thin 28-24 lead.
Steve, stay on the line, and when we start having, when they get back to playing, just go ahead and interrupt us. We're going to bring Adrian Broadus on board here, talk a little bit about tonight's scores and also next week's, but you just interrupt when you're ready to go, and we'll get you back on the air. Adrian, great job over in our 915 Tours Game of the Week at Franklin and East Lake. You already did your final report on that. Franklin winning 26-12, a big win for Franklin because that puts them in a very good position after that loss to Montwood. But I tell you what, they're waiting for another good one right now if Pebble Hills should happen to pull this off. Next week's Thursday night matchup will be a good one, and that'll be out at the SAC.
Yes, obviously the storyline going into that one is the head coach, Darren Walker, going up against one of his former offensive coordinators in Mark Torres in Pebble Hills. And the Spartans, what a start to the season they had. I mean, before they dropped their unexpected loss to Americas 2 weeks ago, the Spartans were just rolling on all cylinders. I believe they started the season 5-0. They had some really big victories. You look at their win against Canutillo. You look at their win in dominant fashion against Del Valle. That's possibly 2 wins right there against 2 contending district title teams in Canutillo and Del Valle. And now, they struggled in that game against Americas, and they ultimately lost in that one, which showed that Pebble Hills is vulnerable. They're on the ropes right now against a tough Montwood team that just doesn't want to go away when it comes to the playoff race. And next up, they have Franklin. Now, the Cougars want another district title under their belt. They want to repeat from last year and see what they could do there under their junior quarterback in Shea Smith. But Franklin is vulnerable as well. You saw how they kind of got into a shootout with Montwood. And I think Franklin's biggest issue is that when they get into games where they're starting to turn the ball over frequently, when they're starting to, try to be too antsy and be too aggressive on plays, like going for it on 4th down in their own territory, that's when Franklin struggles. I love their game plan today against Eastlake. You're not going to get the big plays against the Falcons until you really start to pick them apart. And I thought Franklin did a really nice job in the first half by doing a lot of short plays, a lot of, 5-yard plays, 6 yards here, 6 yards there. And it wasn't really the big plays until the second half when Shea Smith found guys like Bo Sparks for a 62-yard touchdown pass or Elias Rangel for an 81-yard touchdown pass. That's when they got the big plays, when they started to bring the safeties up from Eastlake and they started to pick apart that defense. I have faith in the Franklin offense. Now, the Franklin defense stepped up today, but that might be a little misleading, knowing that Eastlake has struggled sometimes when it comes to their offense. And I don't, I wouldn't also count
Eastlake out of the mix as well, I think they're a team that could be still a contender for the district title if things break right. Like, think about if Pebble Hills were to beat Franklin and then Eastlake were to beat Pebble Hills. Madness can ensue after the next couple weeks, but Franklin's put themselves in a way better position now compared to where they were 2 weeks ago when they lost that game against Montwood. So I'm very fascinated by the 6A title race. I think you've got 3 teams right there that can contend on any given night and can win the title. And then you have, 3 other teams, possibly 4, who are vying for that final playoff spot. So it really fascinates me to see how 6A will wrap up.
Well, with the big game on Thursday night between those two, Eastlake now can take a week off and regroup and then come back. And you got another big one over in the 6A, and it's kind of a must situation if Montwood is able to, if they get beat tonight by Pebble Hills, they're going to have to play Eastwood next week, which will be a big matchup for them. If they can't win that game, you can pretty much count them out.
That's going to be a fun one, too.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Montwood Eastwood's going to be fun regardless, Adrian, because I think you have the 2 best throwing teams in District 1-6A, maybe the 2 best throwing teams in the city. They're going to put a lot of points on a board going up and down, the 2 of them. The thing I like about Pebble, and you talked about it a little bit, they're multidimensional, and I think they and Franklin have that in common. Franklin, Jordan Morales, a nice runner. That's a guy who could knock out maybe a couple of 100 yards every night, every game. And then you have Shea Smith and the Bo Sparks connection. Bowman had a nice game tonight as well. I think you have the same thing with Pebble. Tonight, they only threw 2 passes in the first half. They're pounding Chacon. They got Zaharin Quarles back. They want to ground it out, but they can also hit you through the air. Jaleel Bost last week in the loss to Americas, 2 weeks ago, Bost had touchdowns of 78, 79, and I think 48 yards. That's how they got their 3 TDs. So they're not really a passing team, but they can hurt you that way. They're not strictly a running team, but as we see tonight in the Montwood game, they can grind you down with those big backs if they need to. I think Franklin and Pebble Hills have that in common, and we're going to see them against each other next week.
Let's go out to Steve Escajeda. Pebble was driving on Montwood. They're inside the 20, I think, of Montwood. So, Steve, take it away.
We've got 3:54 to go in the ballgame now. It is now Pebble Hills 31, Montwood 28. Jacob Ledesma scoring from 1 yard out, again, to get on that lead. Both teams are getting back on the field for the kickoff. Now, Montwood, they've got a chance to score again. 3:54 to go in the ball game. Pebbles has not had an answer for Isaac Galvan all night long. He's thrown for 368 yards and 3 touchdowns, and he's going to get one more chance here to try to give Montwood the victory. Again, 31-28 now, Pebble Hills. There's the kick, and that kick is going to be taken at about, no, they're going to let it go into the end zone for a touchback, and Montwood's going to take over on their own 25-yard line. Again, 3:54 to go. The big question is going to be whether they can stop Galvan in that arm. They haven't been able to all night long. Diego Oaxaca, 10 catches, 177 yards for Montwood. Jeremiah Steve, 5 catches, 103 yards. Caleb Alvarez, 4 catches, 49 yards and touchdown. Again, they've got a big job to do here, that Pebble Hill defense. And let's see if they can stop them at least one time. Montwood, again, coming onto the field, led by their quarterback, Isaac Galvan. They're at their own 25-yard line. It's a 1st and 10. And now they find themselves trailing 31-28 to Pebble Hills. Galvan takes the snap, and he's going to throw a pass right up the middle. It's going to be caught. That's going to be caught by Brandon Salcedo, the big tight end. That's going to be a gain of about 9 yards. That'll set up Montwood 2nd down and 1 at their own 34-yard line. The clock takes 3:35, 3:34 in the ball game. Galvan looking over to the sideline for instruction. Got 3 receivers to the right, to the left side. Galvan awaiting the snap. He's got it. He's going to go. In fact, he's going to go that way. It's going to be cut by Oaxaca. Quick catch is going to gain about 3 yards. That'll make it 1st down for Montwood at their own. We're looking at about the 37-yard line. That's Oaxaca's 11th catch of the ball game, 180 yards. 1st and 10, Montwood at their own 37-yard line, 3:11 and counting in the ball game. They trail at 31-28 to Pebble Hills. Galvan in the shotgun. Back to pass, looking, going long. He's got a man. That's going to be a touchdown. Caleb Alvarez got behind the defense, coupled over the 30-yard line, and scored. That's going to be a 63-yard touchdown pass from Galvan to Caleb Alvarez. And what did we just say? Pebble Hills has not had an answer all night long for that passing attack of Montwood, and once again, they scored that quickly. That makes it 34-31, Montwood pinning the extra point. Alex Grajera is in there to attempt that. Let's see if he can put Montwood ahead by more than a field goal. Waiting the snap. He's got it. His kick is up, and his kick is good. With 2:54 to go in the ball game, back and forth we go. Montwood has just taken a 35-31 lead over Pebble Hills.
Steve, how many timeouts do both teams have?
Right now, Montwood has 3 timeouts. In fact, both teams have all their timeouts right now, 3 each. So that's not a problem right now for anybody.
All right, Pebble Hills will get the ball on the kickoff.
And have plenty of time.
And Montwood up 35-31, playing for their district opportunities right here.
No doubt. And you heard the name Caleb Alvarez, the big 63-yard reception. That was the missing name. Remember, this guy caught almost 200 yards worth of balls in that Franklin victory. If he hadn't had a 61-yard touchdown partially called back because one of his teammates came prancing off the sidelines to celebrate when he was still at the 10-yard line. But he would have had 200 yards in that contest. Last week in their loss to Eastlake, no Caleb Alvarez did not catch a pass. I think he was 10 for 199 the week previous. Not a single ball in that loss. Totally disappeared. Well, he makes a return appearance tonight, and the Montwood Rams, when he's out there and making plays, Caleb Alvarez and Diego Oaxaca, they are the alphas of a very, very good receiving core. You just heard that tight end, Brandon Salcedo. Those guys do not drop footballs. They are a force to be reckoned with. I think Pebble wants to kill these last 3+ minutes and find a way to punch it in with maybe 20 seconds left on the clock.
All right, let me run down the scores real quick, Steve, and we'll get it back to you. Franklin defeated Eastlake tonight 26-12 in our 915 Tours Game of the Week. Of course, your game, Montwood up 35-31 with 2:54 left to go. Pebble Hills will have the ball. Canutillo defeated Andrews 49-20. It was Chapin over Burgess 40-7. Paso High defeated Jefferson 21-15, and it was all Riverside as they defeated San Ele 51-6. Great one down in the valley. Clint defeated Mountain View 28-27, and Pecos defeated Faven 16-14. I understand that San Diego defeated the Dodgers 2-1, so they're up now 2-1 in that series. Steve, have we started? Have they kicked off yet?
We sure have. Pebble Hills did take the ball. They run one play that was a 13-yard rush by Jacob Ledesma. That sets up Pebble Hills first and 10 at their own 47-yard line. And we're at 2:35 and counting. That's going to be a carry by Quarles for 3 yards to put him right at the 50-yard line. That'll set up second down and 7 from there. Again, 35-31 Montwood over Pebble Hills. The Spartans have the ball at midfield looking at a second down and 7 with 2:14 to go in this ball game. Pebble Hills can move the ball, but they do it a little slower than Montwood does. So, again, they don't have a whole lot of time to play with. Gail Ochoa, again, in the shotgun, he's going to hand that ball up to Ledesma again, right up the middle, but he's going to be stopped for a short gain, maybe 3. And that's what they're going to give him, 3 yards there down to the Montwood 46-yard line. Sets up maybe like a third and about 4 yards to go. We're under 2 minutes now, 142, 141 to go in this ball game. Pebble Hills needs a touchdown. They can't settle for a field goal. They're down 35-31. Again, everybody looking to the sideline as the clock ticks down, 1:30 and counting. Third down, 4 yards to go. Gail Ochoa waiting the snap in the shotgun. He's got it. Ledesma again up the middle. He's going to break it this time for a first down. Gain him about 7 yards. That's going to put him at the Montwood 39-yard line. Now this one, a big carry there. And looks like there's going to be a timeout. Pebble Hills is going to call their first timeout of the second half. Again, they're set up at they marked that ball at about the 39-yard line of Montwood. First down and 10 from there. 1:14 to go in the ball game, guys.
Well, it's turned into a good one. I can say that, Steve. I mean, this game is at halftime was 21-14 Montwood, and Pebble Hills has fought their way back, take a 31-28 lead there in the fourth quarter, and then you turn around and Montwood goes down and scores on them 35-31, and it seemed like with ease, but now Pebble Hills is kind of doing the same thing to Montwood as they started that ball on, the 25-yard line, and already down to the 35-yard line of Montwood's?
Yeah, 39, I think I heard. And the one thing the timeout tells me, the first of their three, I guess, with 1:14, these guys still think there's time to run the football. That's what that's about. That's what's gotten them down here. That's what they're best at, even though they are able to throw the ball. You better keep your eye on Jaleel Boast and Marcos Torres right behind him on that list of eligible receivers to check. But they think they can still ground and pound with Quarles and with Chacon. And Ledesma.
Hills back on the field now. Yep, you got that right. Okay, they're back on the field. Again, we're set the stage here. 1:17 officially now to go in the ball game. Ochoa, again, waiting the snap in the shotgun. He's got a running back each side of him. He's going to fake the handoff. He's going looking up the middle. He can't find a receiver. Under a heavy rush, he's going to throw the ball out of bounds.
Good move.
And that's going to be incomplete. In fact, he almost ran out of bounds before he had a chance to throw it. He was able to get rid of it, but again, that fell incomplete. So that's going to set up second down and 10 from the Montwood 39-yard line. 1 minute and 7 seconds left to go in this ball game. Again, Ochoa, not a great passer. He can throw it when he has to, but again, like Paul was saying, this team, their bread and butter is on the ground. And well, here we go. 1:07 to go, second down, 10 yards to go. Ochoa in the shotgun. Look, again, no, he's going to keep it this time. Running up the middle, he's going to gain good yardage and really just slithering his way down to the 28-yard line for a first down for Pebble Hills. Keeps the drive alive. We're under a minute to go, 59.5 seconds to go in this one. A player is down for Montwood again. That's going to stop things right now as the trainers come out onto the field. So that's going to stop play for at least momentarily. 59.5 seconds to go in this one. They're going to mark that ball first down and 10 at the 28-yard line of Montwood. 35-31, the Rams holding on to a very slim lead. And I've got to give you, we've got a moment here. Just some, again, we talked about Isaac Alvan pretty much all night long. The Montwood quarterback, I mean, what a ball game. 24 out of 38 on the night, 434 yards, 4 big touchdown passes. And Diego Oaxaca came in this ball game with some incredible numbers. He's just adding to that. 11 catches, 180 yards, and 2 touchdowns. In fact, they have 3 receivers, Montwood does, over 100 yards. Caleb Alvarez, 5 catches, 112 yards, and Jeremiah Steve, 5 catches, 103 yards. And both Oaxaca and Alvarez have a couple of touchdown grabs each. So let's see, again, Pebble Hills coming onto the field. We've got second down and 10 yards to go from the 28-yard line. Ochoa got the snap. He's going to keep it. Let's go straight. In fact, it's Ledesma. He took the handoff, and he's going to down close to a first down, right about the 18-yard line. And, in fact, they are going to give him that first down. So that was Ledesma for 10 more yards. He's gone over 100 yards. He got 118 yards, in fact, in the ballgame. Clock is ticking. 43 seconds to go in this one. They're down to the 18-yard line. First and 10. Ochoa awaiting the snap. He's got it. He's going to fake a handoff. He's going to throw this time up the middle. That ball's going to be almost caught in the end zone. They went for both. He dove for it, had it for a second, but couldn't hold on. That's going to be incomplete. 30 seconds to go in this one. That's going to set up second down and 10 from the 18-yard line. That was really close, guys. Nice diving catch, but again, he couldn't come down with it. So it's going to set up second and 10. 30.4 seconds to go officially. And Oaxaca, again, Ochoa almost had himself a touchdown pass. 2nd and 10 from the 18-yard line. Ochoa waiting the snap. He's got it. Looking. He's going to keep it. He's going to run up the middle again. Gaining good yardage inside the 10-yard line. Down to the 8, and that's going to be a 1st and goal, it looks like. 23 seconds to go. They've stopped the clock for the first down. And, in fact, there is going to be a timeout. Now it's going to be Pebble Hills. Yep, their second timeout. They've got one left. And we've got 23.6 seconds left to go. And Pebble Hills has its 1st and goal at the 8-yard line. Ochoa, really sneaky, goes back to pass. He's done that several times tonight. Again, doesn't find anybody. He takes off right up the middle. Very slithery, just slippery. Gets by guys. And, again, if you're doing that all night long, in fact, he's up to 51 yards now on the night on the ground. He also has a touchdown to go with that. So, again, the Montwood defense coming out on the field. Pebble Hills breaking their huddle. 23 seconds left to go in this ball game. Montwood 35, Pebble Hills 31. Pebble Hills needs a touchdown. Everybody's on their feet here at the sack on both sides. Both fans, both fan bases. Ochoa at the 8-yard line, awaiting the snap. He's got it. He's going to fake a handoff. He's going to run up the middle. He's going to be into the end zone. Untouched, right up the middle. Touchdown, Pebble Hills. They take a 37-35 lead with 18 seconds left to go in the ball game. Dale Ochoa, who's been doing all night long, went back, a couple of steps back, kept it running right down the middle, untouched for a touchdown, Pebble Hills. 37-35, 18.8 seconds left to go in the ball game. Let's see, they go ahead and make this extra point. They make it a 3-point lead. Aaron Ortega in for the extra point. Again, one guy from Pebble Hills running in late. Let's see, they've got about 5 seconds to snap this ball. They got it, they fumbled it, but he picks it up, kicks it, and it is good. They fumbled the snap for a second, but he was able to get it down, and the extra point is good. 38-35, Pebble Hills, 18.8 seconds left to go in the ball game.
All right, hang in there, Steve. We want to see the kickoff and what Montwood can do. Paul, good, great game there.
I said they were going to try and score with 20 seconds left. I think it was 18 when Gael Ochoa crosses the end zone. Of course, not the first time for that kid. Remember the drive he led against Eastwood a year ago. That's how he won this quarterback job as a sophomore, competing with Jacob Ledesma over the last couple of years. So he's brought teams from behind before. By the way, they had to go for 2 and get that one as well. One thing I was going to throw out, maybe a mistake from Mark Torres, head coach of Pebble Hills. You're up 2 points, 37-35. Yes, the extra point puts you up 3, so in case they, in a miracle way, come back and get in field goal range, kick it and tie. But when you kick that extra point, you are there's a threat that thing gets blocked and it goes back the other way. And all of a sudden, 37-35 turns into 37-37, and then you can't live with yourself for maybe another football season.
Well,
okay, so Pebble Hills, guys, is getting ready for that kickoff now. Again, 18.8 seconds left to go in this ball game. Pebble Hills is going to kick it out to Montwood, and the Rams need a miracle right now. Okay, there it is. The kickoff. It's going to sail into the end zone. So Montwood's going to kick over at the own 25-yard line. And with a lot of teams out there, I might see this whole game is over. But with Galvan, you just never know. Again, we just saw him complete a 63-yard touchdown pass the last time they had the ball. So it's not inconceivable at all that he could work a miracle here tonight. Again, 18.8 to go in this ball game. Pebble Hills up 38-35. Montwood, you believe in miracles, guys? We'll see. At their own 25-yard line, again, they're in the huddle with the coaching staff, and now they're coming onto the field. What a ball game we had tonight. Back and forth, great ball game. 2 teams putting on a show tonight. Here we go. As you figure, Pebble Hills has guys way back, trying to give them anything, nothing deep. They're hoping, okay, Galvan in the shotgun, got the snap. Waiting, looking. He's going to throw that ball. It's going to be complete. It's going to be caught. In fact, they go ahead and try to hook and ladder, and that's going to be a fumble. And Pebble Hills recovers the fumble, and that's going to be the ball game. They didn't complete the pass. They tried that hook and lateral, That was not done very well. It was fumble. Pebble Hills recovers, and that's going to be the ball game. 9.5 seconds to go. They're going to shut on it. It's going to be over. Pebble Hills is going to come away with a 38-35 victory over the Montwood Rams.
All right, Steve, you want to do a final wrap-up right now, or you want us to come back to you in about 5 minutes?
No, we can go ahead and do that right now, guys.
All right,
No
go right
problem at
ahead.
all.
We'll let you get out.
Okay, you got it. Again, Pebble Hills is just going to take that snap and take a knee and finish his ball game. Pebble Hills was led on the ground tonight, 118 yards by Jacob Ledesma, and also how about 99 yards for Azarian Quarles. They were just relentless in that running game. A total of 295 yards on the ground for Pebble Hills to only 68 yards passing. 66 of those came on one completion to Jaleel Boost. And again, what is this? Pebble Hills throws the football, and it's going to be completed at the 5-yard line. That nobody expected. Again, they threw a pass, and it was completed. They're going to mark it down at the 4. I cannot tell you why they would do that, but they did. And now the clock runs out, 0. But that was strange. They did throw a pass, completed at the 4-yard line, and now the clock kicks off and the game is officially over. And again, that's an interesting call there at the end. We'll continue with some stats. Dale Ochoa, 2 out of 9 tonight, throwing the ball for 68 yards, but he did also run for 51 and a touchdown for Pebble Hills. For the Montwood Rams, they were led on the ground by Isaiah Claudio. He had 64 yards and a touchdown. The big man tonight for Montwood, quarterback Isaac Galvan, 24 out of 38 for 434 yards, 4 touchdowns. He did have 2 picks. Diego Oaxaca, 11 catches, 180 yards, 2 touchdowns. Caleb Alvarez, 5 catches, 112 yards, 2 touchdowns. And for good measure, Jeremiah Steed, 5 catches, 103 yards. Great ball game tonight with the victory. Pebble Hills improves to 5-1 in District 1-6A play and 7-1 overall. Montwood losing a heartbreaker tonight. They fall to 2-3 in the league and 2-5 overall. As we've said a few times tonight, next Thursday, huge ball game. Pebble Hills will take on Franklin. That'll be Thursday instead of Friday, guys. And Montwood, they've got another tough one next week, next Friday night, as they travel to Eastwood. Final score here at the SAC. What a ball game. It's over. Pebble Hills comes from behind to defeat Montwood 38-35.
All right, great job, Steve. Great game. 38-35, Pebble Hills defeats Montwood. In our 915 Tours game of the week, it was Franklin defeating Eastlake 26-12. Canutillo defeated Andrus 49-20. It was Chapin 40, Burgess 7. Paso High defeats Jefferson 21-15. Riverside defeats San Eli 51-6. And Clint defeats Mountain View 28-27. And Pecos over Fabens 16-14. Paul, you have some scores?
Longhorn Distributing out-of-town scoreboard. There are some interesting ones. Let's start with San Angelo Central. They take down Odessa 57-34. They stay undefeated in District 2-6A. But here's the one. Midland Legacy lost to Friendship last week. Only a couple of wins going to Ratliff Stadium. Odessa Permian and the old Midland Lee Rebels, now Midland Legacy, take down the Mojo 33-25. The final in that one, they come away with a huge victory as a team that, well, they were always going to go to the playoffs, I guess. But, wow, you just got to love the bragging rights over undefeated Permian, and they pulled it off at Odessa. Elsewhere, Friendship, again with a victory. They stay undefeated in the district, 42-38. Tough one, but they squeeze by Midland. A Thursday nighter. This was huge. Abilene Wiley takes down Wichita Falls Ryder, 39-38 in that 5A district. Lubbock Cooper tonight holds on, beats Abilene in a defensive slug fest. I don't know, is there such a thing as a defensive slugfest? But if there was, Cooper won it 11-8. You see what I mean? Similar Caprock Monterey. They play defense in this 5A Division I district. Amarillo Caprock holds off Monterey 14-13. Lubbock Coronado in a Thursday nighter surprises Amarillo at Amarillo 28-17. Elsewhere tonight, Abilene Cooper takes care of Amarillo Paladuro 50-14. Plainview gets rid of Lubbock 62-19. Monahans in that District 1 4A matchup of probably your two best teams. Monahans goes to undefeated Fort Stockton and comes away with a victory, 38-29, as they take the Catbird seat in District 1 4A. Clint also 1-1. Stockton took care of them last night, but they slipped by Mountain View tonight. And Forson takes care of Anthony. In fact, shuts them out 37-0. And Mark Miller, that is your Longhorn Distributing out-of-town scoreboard.
Player of the game tonight. What
Man, you
got some big stats out there.
You spring this stuff on me. Player of the game. Well, let's go to the big game and the big drive. Guile Ochoa has been there before. It's not necessarily a stat thing, but he's down 4 points with a little less than 4 minutes on the clock. And once again, I just love the maturity of this Pebble Hills team. And when I say maturity, we're talking about a bunch of juniors pretty much. Guile Ochoa is a junior. Marcus Torres, the receiver, he's a junior. Jaleel Bost is an underclassman. The running backs, we talked about Quarles, he's a sophomore. Ledesma is a junior. But they're a young team, yet they perform like they're not young. They perform like they're experienced, and they've been here before because they have been as sophomores. They came through then, and they come through again tonight. Guile Ochoa leads the drive, finishes it off with an 8-yard touchdown run. I said they were going to do it with 20 seconds left. They actually did it with 19. Ochoa again leads the come-from-behind drive, and in the biggest game of the night, I guess, the most exciting, Pebble Hills takes down Montwood 38-35, and because of that, Guile Ochoa, our offensive player of the night.
All right, Paul. Good night. Week 8.
Senior player of the night.
Oh, senior player.
Yeah, there's two because the guy who had the best stats actually in a big game too, and that's what makes it legit. Canyon T and Andrews. Canyon T holds off Andrews 49-20, and one of the big reasons for the second straight week, L.J. Martin back in the lineup. Last we heard from Jaime Chavez after his 98-yard touchdown run, 16 carries, 250 yards. Oh, by the way, also had a 30-yard touchdown reception. L.J. Martin is always money, and when they needed him tonight, along with fellow senior Lorenzo Adiola, who had a couple of touchdown receptions, L.J. Martin, our senior, and probably of every night, but definitely tonight, L.J. Martin, the senior of the night, Week 9.
All right. Thank you very much, Paul.
8.
Been a long night.
Yeah, boy.
A lot of stats thrown out there tonight. Great week of football, high school football, and it should be a good one next week also. Thank you very much for listening, and that'll do it for us on Football Friday Night.